Alrighty, welcome back. And we had a little bit of technical delays, but we have returned with day 2 of the PlayerzZone VAL-AM Invitational main event here presented by GLG. I am Vincent, despite what you're being told by the name tags, and that is not Joker, that's Doctor. Also being lied to, but it's okay. We'll get that figured out very soon. And welcome back. How are we feeling? Trade Like Pros, Cosmic Divide.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. We had some bit of technical issues, like you said, but they cannot rain on our parade. We have Cosmic Divide heading up against Trade Like Pros in our first matchup of the night, and we got a banger of a map list to go along with this. We're heading to Haven first. You can already see the players loaded in. They got their agent selections. Nothing so far out of the ordinary. They're pretty much, and by pretty much I mean, in fact, they are identical. So definitely some good stuff here. Lots of smokes, lots of knowledge and control to be gained. And this is truly just going to be who the better team is.
Yeah, and these two teams both played Haven already in the groups here. They played it one time for Cosmic Divide, two times for Cosmic Divide, one time for Trade Like Pros. Trade Like Pros won Haven the one time they played it in a pretty dominant attacker side. And then on the other side of things, they went 1-1 with a 50% win rate Cosmic Divide. So it's a little bit of a question mark, but oh my goodness, what a nice shot from CryoCells. That's just about as nice as you like with the pistol to open things up here, Doc.
Yeah, definitely going to lessen the amount of options we do see coming in here from Trade Like Pros. They're already trying to get on the site, though. His Shade is completely smoked off. Inex is going to pick up another kill, and everything going bad for Trade Like Pros, but they're bringing it back nicely. It's a 1-on-3, though, and it is going to be CD taking the victory.
Yeah, and you know, whilst we didn't get a chance to have the full discussion there because of those issues, I will say that I think Cosmic Divide pretty favored here, at least in my book. I Trade Like Pros, they've been a big question mark for me ever since replacing Rano, and so Darkest is in today. Though granted, there are two stand-ins, or rather trials, Terms and Venture, both are trialing for this team as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. Darkest has had maybe not the best of tournaments, 0.86 on the KPR, but definitely not bad. That's just, the Ghost is so nice to watch CryoCells play with. I mean, really just beautiful. Long range, not able to make that one work. Dynasty runs out with the classic, but still. Venture says, I'll show you how to do some Ghost plays. Thank you very much. To close out round number 2, Doc. Man, these are some pretty shots.
They're so quick, and you know, it is off the back of Cryo just getting so aggressive with the Jet in the 8 tunnel area, and it's completely catching Trade Like Pros off guard. And right now there were 2 rounds in and they've just been completely run over, and because of that you can already see the operator in play. It is the 3rd freaking round, and they have the Jet operator in play going up against the full rifles of TLP. And this is an odd round, right? Like 4 Spectres and an operator into 5 Vandals. You don't see that very often.
It's certainly not the norm, right? I mean, and just I talked about stats a little bit. Like CryoCells, we were talking about, is like one of the leading players in this event, by the way, stats-wise. Stats don't tell the whole story, but it certainly does tell you that CryoCells is cracked. I mean, that's what it does. Like, it's sitting at like a ridiculous 313 average combat score, like over the course of 7 maps or something crazy. Like, I wish I could be that good.
It would definitely help me in solo queue. But regardless, it's helping them out quite a bit here. You know, obviously they do have a bit of an advantage. Very slow play coming in here from Trade Like Pros, just trying to get a little bit of knowledge out. They do get some here with the drone. They know there's 2 people hanging out in the garage area. Recon both gonna try and get a little bit more, but nothing really so far coming out. The B hit is incoming though. Smokes are out. Sprays come through. Shade's gonna get the spike down as Darkest tries to get a little bit of cover going.
Cover good enough from spike planted, so not too shabby. SVL though swinging in, gets one with that run it back. Is going to open the site up for the retake as now the defense walks in. it's just a matter of time. How can you defend this spike? The fuse comes through. Half already gained here, and they're spraying the smoke, trying to do their best, but Trade Like Pros, they've got no idea. As so Cosmic Divide, they walk away with a victory despite some losses. It does not matter, so that's a third sitting on the board. Cosmic Divide, you love to see it.
That's definitely a tough round to lose, though, because of how much they went in investing. And you can see here, economically, they're not doing so hot. They are falling a bit behind here when it comes to credits, and all of Cosmic Divide have been able to upgrade to these rifles now. So this is going to be another chalked round for the most part, but that round, you mentioned it yourself, they were trying to spray through the smoke onto the spike that was, beautifully planted eventually, but they just couldn't connect the shots, and, the aggression from Cosmic Divide is just continuing to hammer Trade Like Pros. They're getting obliterated by teams just W keying at them right now, and they don't seem to have an answer. Yes, this round they were a bit economically challenged, but last round they full-heartedly had the economic advantage with those rifles.
Yeah, the economy game, we talk about it, we bang on a lot about it, but it is so very important. Cryo cells, 5 HP, easy shot with that operator, no problem there. So there's just 2 players left alive. Dip, who was the sole survivor in round... Okay, never mind. It was the sole survivor in round 2. He did falls to venture, and Inox walks through the smoke. That dark cover, man, I feel like it's just... You see a dark cover, you might as well just expect there to be a player inside it or pushing through it.
Yeah, it's so easy to just camp up in one of those and be unsuspecting as an opponent. So definitely a good play there. We're seeing 4 rounds in a row now here from Cosmic Divide, and Trade Like Pros, they're finally back on rifles, but they're not exactly flush with cash, right? Like, they're still in the dumps a little bit. The stimmy hasn't hit quite yet. They're waiting till next week to try and get something going for them. But unfortunately for them, they needed it now. They are way behind the curve at the moment, and they need to step it up.
They truly do. Trade Like Pros, a team that I'd love to watch, and this is a nice little from the shadows. Dynasty finds the frag off the back of it as well. The running back gets popped over to C. Now has to get out and does just that. So that's a wonderful from the shadows. You're able to get in, get the information, get a frag, and then get right back out.
Running back was also used there coming in by Darkest, just trying to get a little bit of information. Didn't get any frags, but they do get the spike down, and they have a huge advantage coming in right now because it is this 5v4 retake situation. Now that they have the Hunter's Fury available as well, they have the coverage to try and bait in the spike defuse. And so as long as they just don't die here, they are in an amazing position. Here comes the defensive Hunter's Fury. It's going to get a little bit of damage down, but again, they only find one member. The operator on the overhang position is trying to get some information on. SVL is actually going to get a frag. The defuse is coming in to get it to halfway, but the Hunter's Fury comes out as well, is going to get the frag, and I don't think they have enough time. They're slowly running down, and that is going to do it. They can't even keep a single member alive.
That's a great setup. I mean, it was a heavy investment. Let's not pretend. Trade Like Pros, they invested the Hunter's Fury, they run it back in from the shadows. So it was a lot thrown in there, but it doesn't matter if you get around and break the streak there of Cosmic Divide. I talked about how Cosmic Divide, I believe, to be the favorites in this matchup. It's certainly going to be a key here for Trade Like Pros to win their own map pick. That's this one. Haven is the map they picked out. We're going to Bind next, which is Cosmic's pick. So, like I said, very important that Trade Like Pros keep this very solid, keep themselves in this despite a little bit of a slow start here, but that's okay. We do like to see that, and we'll see what they have to say. Darkest tries to get aggressive with that curveball, able to get some damage done, but not quite enough to take Cryo Cells out, who's playing very close by. The hot hands comes out in order to deny the area. Not going to be doing much of anything, though. Darkest in the back site needed to find something, but falls immediately, leaving just 3 Trade Like Pros players alive.
Shade down to 30 HP as well. It's not looking amazing here. The Owl Drone's going to come out and get a tag there on the SVL, but Benji's coming up. Big Dip gets another frag. Cryosos finally trades back nicely, but it is still going to be going the way of Trade Like Pro so far. But with the defuse coming in, it is going to be for sure a 5th round on the board. And Vincent, that is a win-loss round for Trade Like Pros. Their economy is hanging by a thread.
Yeah, for the Counter-Strike fellas in chat, you guys know what time it is. It is reset time. And yeah, you're going to be in a tough spot if you lose this one. Fortunately, because of how well they did in the prior round, keeping 4 players alive, they have enough cash to buy in here and even get an operator, which I'm honestly surprised at. I was very much believing that they would be, relegated to just the rifles, but no. Fortunately, able to do that. That being said, the run it back is committed over there from Cosmic Divide. To try to find something out, though that really didn't net much of anything other than information. So the rest of the attackers moving here towards it.
We are seeing Inix able to kind of cheat into window, though, right? Because of the space gained by the run it back. Tripwire is actually going to pop off as well. Does get a little bit of information. Venture hits the shot as well as Churms. It's quickly falling apart, though, for both sides as many members are down. Shock Dart comes out. Doesn't quite connect, but it's a 3-on-1 now. And it's just the poor op generator. And I don't think they're long for this world.
Did you say the generator?
I did, actually.
Is that a thing? That's pretty awesome. I love it. The generator. I'm gonna have to hang on to that one for the road. But yeah, I mean, this is a very tough start, especially losing those 2 in a row right there. Trade Like Pros, they're in a bad spot. There ain't no rhyme or way around it. You have to look at this, and I think Trade Like Pros need to make some adjustments. I really not loved their B takes. I want to see them try and throw a fake in here. They've been very one-dimensional with regards to this attack. The one round that worked was a very one-dimensional push over towards C, and with that Blade Storm playing close by, could find cryo cells here, but it looks like not sure that the opposing Jet wants to make that. Oh, it does. It's 2 shots, but that's the problem with that weapon. You only got 2 of them. So 1, 2, and you're dead. Gets the info. Inox, that's a little bit over aggressive, you have to say.
Yeah, completely split the uprights too. Like they hop through the smoke, they see 2 members, and their mouse hand just goes, I don't know what to do. Oh no, this is... That's huge. SVL just wins the round right there. Doesn't matter that the round was, so what's they do everything there. They get the op out of the hands of Trade Like Pros that was stolen. SVL now has control of the spike as well, and it is down to just poor old Benji. Does have the neural theft, but this is definitely not the round you want to use that on.
No, it's really not. Though I will say that neural theft is very hard to use at times. And well, that's a terrifying moment. You just swing into 3 defenders. Try to do something, but not to be. That being said, I will say that I think the Cosmic Divide have done a really good job defensively with regards to their rotations. We saw there, everybody committed to the same position, ready to do that double swing. It's such a basic thing, right? But, I see the mistakes happen very often, Doc, where the teams are not setting up to try and trade effectively, and sometimes would mess that up. So, I'd love to see that there from Cosmic Divide. There's a reason why there's such favorites here in the Valley.
Yeah, and especially when you don't know exactly what type of weaponry you're going to be fighting into. Like, that Sheriff could have very easily ruined their day, just like this run it back and this spray through the smoke is doing. Inix has made the way over, but they fall as well, and what was promising has suddenly fallen apart, as it's looking like a flawless victory here for Trade Like Pros, and indeed it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad, right? I mean... Listen, I'm going to be honest. I blinked, I took a drink of water, and I low-key missed exactly what they did, but it looked like they just ran straight to A. And, whilst I said I really need to see some adjustments from them, I'd like to see something a little bit more dynamic, right? Like it's been very one-dimensional from TLP, but there's sometimes that works when you commit heavily and you're able to get win those aim duels out, get those picks. It does work, but at 7-2, you have to admit, this certainly has not been the most effective of strategies.
Yeah, and I mean, that round, they did get some nice shots through the smoke, which helped them out quite a bit as Cryocells wins it over Shade. SVL, I don't know if they're on camera. That Cyber Cage is going to be problematic, though, since SVL won't be able to push as aggressively, but there's not too much more coming through. Both cyber cages are down now, actually, Vincent. And the second one was used just to recover the operator.
Yeah, that I mean, it's a bit of a commitment, but what that tells to me, Doc, is that Trade Like Pros are not going back here. Or at least they don't want to. They're going to hold it, obviously, because they don't want to get pushed out. But they're giving up that A side of the map entirely, and it looks as if just that they're going to be hitting over towards B or C. There's 2 players committed that way, but as I'm saying, that 2 players get aggressive, and Vinci with that operator recovery does find the kill on the SVL, who was the player up close and personal. So not too bad. Neural Theft coming out to give the information away. Finds out where their defense is playing. Those rotations were already on the way in, but it's looking like a little bit of indecision. I don't love this. Yeah, Trade Like Pros were not super sure where to play off the back of that. They were kind of waiting for Darkest to make a play as the Hunter's Fury comes out off the back of that tag from the camera. The Cryo Cell's coming through, gets the kill before the Hunter's Fury can really make that happen. So it's now left to 3 players against 4 as the players sitting on the site. There's 13 seconds left. You got to run away. Cryo Cells with 3, and Venture and Enox clean them up.
Yeah, I mean, even if those frags don't come through, they simply did not have the time, and a large portion of that is because of the indecision you were talking about. As soon as that Neural Theft comes through, they should have made the call. They could have gone to B as a unit together and been much more decisive about it instead of just having Darkness onto the site all by their lonesome, getting tagged up by cameras and operators. Like, there was no reason for them to, fake back towards A at that point, because it's not like you got hit by the Neural Theft. They don't know where you are outside of where your cipher is for being able to get the ultimate down. So a little bit more decisiveness could have gone a long way in that round. And so they are going to have weapons one more time, but this half is looking incredibly tough. It's already 8-2. How much worse can it get before it gets better?
Yeah, well, and Doc, the worst part about it is, like, I don't even think it matters if you hit A or B there. It's just make a decision. Like, you got to do something, and you got to do it fast. Because wherever you go, you have the advantage. Speaking of advantages, Enox creates an advantage once more for Cosmic Divide. It seems like that's just been the status quo, though, for Cosmic Divide in this half. They've rarely been disadvantaged. And, well, here's another one. SVL utilizing that run it back in great effect. Terms swings around. Flawless victory here. As you said, how long is it going to take to get better? Well, that is another round where it certainly didn't look any better.
No, that was a really rough round for Trade Like Pros. They just got completely trapped up in Garage. And so now we're heading into the last round of the half. The economy, not good for TLP. They'll have to make what they can come out. It's probably just going to be another Sheriff here on Dip. I can't imagine... I mean, mathematically, they can't really get a whole much more. Maybe they go for the Spectre buy. But yeah, largely another rough round incoming. And you can already see it is double operator for the second round in a row now. Cosmic Spy. You can see on the map, there's not a whole lot of room you can go. These operators are keeping everything covered, but this A short play is exactly the one you can make, and Inix shuts it down.
That's an incredible shot from Inix, and the paranoia forces back the players who are coming in to try and create that trade. So now the push here from Trade Like Pros is stymied for the time being. That being said, Dynasty does find the frag on the Soba, making things a little bit more difficult. But Inox, another frag. That one onto Shade. So impeccable here. Close range with the operator. Dynasty finally shuts it down, but it's far too late, leaving simply one player, Benji. Oh my goodness, Benji just got styled on. The double right click headshots with the classic.
Switching sides.
You just hit a heady Call of Duty style. That is just absolutely brutal to see if you're a Trade Like Pros fan. But they're now on the defensive side. They now have, this been waiting to play. They have their option of what they want to do with it. So this could be their moment to be able to trade things back, right? This could be their moment. If they win this still here, they're down 7 rounds still at that point, but at least back. So a lot rides on this pistol rounds.
It certainly does. And well, you know what the bad news is here for Trade Like Pros? According to their information, according to their history here on Haven, that their offense is their better side. And we just saw their offense. It's not ideal. And now it's on to the defense, the worst of the two. Granted, still a positive win rate, by the way, over like 7 maps which kind of goes to show you why Trade Lake Pros picked this map. They're very good at it. Cosmic Divide just appears to be slightly better, at least slightly better at making, hitting those shots. That's what we've been seeing a lot of is hitting those shots.
Yeah, and so I mean, even if your defensive side here is a bit worse, it still does have a lot of agency with it because you can really lock down these different sites. They have used a lot of utility so far, so any retake situation they do go for is going to be a bit stymied. I do like that we're seeing Cryo just hanging out in the middle of nowhere, completely unexpected. Is going to have an absolutely massive flank as this hit comes in. Venture kills him. Shade gets one back, but how much more can they get? All three members now of Trade Like Pros coming into this garage area, and Cryo's just kind of going for a leisurely stroll, but those are the deadliest as we've seen before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is just really Cryo. Okay, not going to go the full BM route, though. He did buy a Sheriff on pistol round and got 3 kills with it. So, like, is it really not BM? I kind of feel like you could consider that BM.
That is not maximum BM. I will give you that. There is still some effort to be had there, going for some schmancy plays, some schmovement. But yeah, I mean, the Sheriff play, being able to hit every single one of those shots was so clean, so crisp. Definitely exactly what you want out of your Jet duelist. And I mean, look at this scoreline: 16, 5, and 1. They have one shot capability for 90% of the map, and they've only given up that 1 assist. That is 1 kill they could have gotten, and they chose not to, as the generous god they are.
Well, we'll see how generous they can be here. This Cosmic Divide push on to the A site. Cryocells coming in. That's a perfect paranoia, but the missed shots. Oh no, Benji absolutely falling. And now it's simply a matter of time for the round number 12 to go the way of Cosmic Divide. It's 2 on 5. The Shade has something to say, trying to fight this back. Long range does find another one though. Chirps with this. Oh my goodness. The long range shots there with the Spectre are just absolutely beautiful. Kerm says no thank you, and it's 12-2.
It's map point. Game number 1 here in this best of 3 series. Cosmic Divide are looking lights out. They're looking so good in this matchup. And earlier that this is the Trade Like Pros map pick. This is not confidence inspiring, unfortunately, for the team here. As we head into the map number 2, they do have a smattering of weapons. They got a Judge, Marshal, a bunch of Spectres. This is their last ditch effort, quite literally make or break right now.
Certainly is. I mean, I hate to say it's over, but I mean, I've not seen a lot from Trade Like Pros in this map that's given me a lot of hope. As well, Dynasty trying to play close range there with that Judge. Doesn't work out all that well. The Shade has something to say. Dodges the flash, able to get the tag, not enough for the frag. Leaving simply Benji left in the 1-on-3. Gets one, maybe another. Flash is good, and SVL's there. So Cosmic Divide say uno, dos, and adios to Trade Like Pros in map number 1 here on Haven.
Yeah, bit of a beatdown as well, but best case scenario, it's a best of 3. They still have time. They still have a lot of Valorant left to play. They do have this next match. It is Bind. It's something we've seen kind of fall out of favor with a lot of teams across like Pit of Valor and some of the other VAL-AM events that we've been running. So there is still some unknown secrets about this map, I feel, even though it is by far and away the most played map in Valorant history. So there is still a room for Trade Like Pros to bring this back, to come into this next map swinging and drag us to a game number 3. And this is all up to them now, right? They are coming in to this map with their tournament life on the line.
Yeah, they are. And I have more bad news if you're a Trade Like Pros fan, and bad news for you, Doc. The reason that I say that is I've been coming at you fast and quick with these stats, and these stats don't look good for Trade Like Pros in this one. They've played Bind 3 times thus far in the VAL-AM. They've lost it twice out of those 3 times, unfortunately, and it's just not been great, not been good. That being said, I do take a moment and say losses teach you a lot, right? And to be fair, that's 2 losses, but they won the series in both of those. So, definitely is not the worst. Or I should say both of those. They lost to On the Way, but they won the other one that they lost Bind in. So I don't think that that's the end of the world, but it definitely doesn't tell a very nice story coming in here for Trade Like Pros. I have to say, given that first one, I think Cosmic Divide are bringing this home in too. But hey, it's always possible. Let's see what they can bring us here on the classic of Bind. Let's see what happens.
So what you're saying is that 50% of the time, Trade Like Pros win 100% of the time.
That is some key lying with stats. I love that.
Exactly. And so, I mean, this is potentially a great map for them because if they lose it, their series is over. But if they win it, they have good mathematical sense to then show that they would win this series. So, you know, I would take those odds if I were not a betting man.
Man, those are is your brain okay, Doc? The mental gymnastics which you're doing to get to your conclusion is so impressive. I want to say I'm truly impressed. You are a doctor, so I shouldn't really be that impressed. You know, having a degree and everything.
Yeah, no, that is definitely not how. I'm more of a Dr. Zed, if you've ever played the Borderlands series.
Okay.
So mathematically, not the best, but I'll cut you real good. So as we head into map number 2, like we said, it is still Bind. It is going to be Trade Like Pros on this defending side, Cosmic Divide on the attack, and we're seeing 2 frenzies actually still for Trade Like Pros, which is I don't know. It's interesting in one sense because it was obviously nerfed. It's now 500 credits versus 400, but it hasn't completely left the meta.
You know, I you know, some people might say that Trade Like Pros playing the past here, but I actually think a couple players picking it up, it's not that bad. Like it's pretty solid.
Smoke flank.
Confirmed frags and yes, that's massive. Finds a second as well. That's incredible. Sitting up top. They didn't hear the audio cue. The plant going down as Cryocells does swing out, but they can't plant the spike with Dynasty's here. Making a 4th for Dynasty, looking for the ace.
Stolen.
And she steals it away, but nonetheless, Dynasty absolutely smacking all over Cosmic Divide there in the pistol on the flank play.
Tragic. You hate to see it. You hate to see it just stolen away from them at the last moment, but regardless, they do get 5 points towards that ultimate, which, while not the most impactful, if you get it earlier enough, it can be a problem.
You know what I say, Doc? The earlier, like the neural thefts, the Hunter's Furies, the From the Shadows of the world. You're right, not the most impactful of ultimates necessarily, but the earlier you get them, the better they are. Like when there's nothing else on the board, those things are actually huge. And I think that's what you're going for. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's gonna look good in the next couple of rounds. We do see Cryocell actually already all the way into this hookah area, is checking for the tripwires that are traditionally there, but taken so incredibly low between the hot hands and the bullet spray.
Man, Cryocell's movement is a beauty to watch. I wish I could be that good. Cryocells with a nice couple of frags, with Dip is there, ready and waiting, making 3. Darkest chimes in for 2. So a full house of frags between Dip and Darkest allowed for Trade Like Pros to pick up that second round despite the force buy.
Is still gonna go the way. Did you see that? That was Shade buying an operator.
Ooh.
Are they gonna do it?
No way they can do that.
That's so bold, especially considering how map 1 went. And there is a scary world where Cryocells just swings wide with a sheriff and takes it out of your hands real quick.
Right. That's what I would be scared of.
Cover going out.
And so look at this. Camera gone. Shots go wide, and they peek even wider. Smoke's gonna come out aggressively. They are trying to get to this ultimate orb here in showers. Darkest just trying to get some pressure back, but they have to fall away. There's no support coming through.
Look how not at all bothered the entirety of Cosmic Divide were by both those players getting aggressive. They were like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. We go for this because we have Cryocells picking up a Blade Storm. And that's just our win condition. And fair enough, Cryocells getting frags is a pretty solid, consistent win condition, at least on paper, and has been the way that it's been working out the entirety of this VAL-AM. So Definitely can't fault them for that, as it looks like the rotations are coming into B, and that should be where this push goes as soon as Cosmic Divide rotate in.
It is still 40 seconds left on the clock, though, so they're going to have to get going a little bit faster. They don't have too much room to play with here. The camera is going to see all of this going down as well. Benji, currently the only member here. Tripwire is getting busted up, but they've fallen back here into Elbow. They're going to have to contend with Cryoselv's Blade Storm, but do they have the stones to do it? Krause's not even going to check. They're not even afraid. They do finally do it, and they get the frag. How do you get that kill?
Are you kidding me?
I think it was actually stolen.
Okay, it was. You're right. Oh my goodness, I was absolutely flabbergasted. Dip is trying their very best to bring this back around. Has so many frags there with that Hunter's Fury. Now Dynasty dispatches Charms at Simply Venture, the new player sitting ready and waiting, and is not going to be able to get around the corner. So the defuse goes well. That being said, it seemed as if it was awful expensive for Trade Like Pros. They had to invest that Hunter's Fury. It got big value, which I really liked. But can I just say for a moment, the way in which Cosmic Divide took Elbow right there was absolutely impeccable. I loved it. They committed 3 players, all swinging at the same time, the knives being the tip of the spear, and they were just able to run it in. And then whenever they were getting too aggressive, waited for the dark cover to come through from Inex, and then swung around in order to make that angle a little bit less difficult for the player with the blades. Absolutely brilliant stuff there from Cosmic Divide.
Yeah, the smoke was a little worrying to me because it was just off angle, so there is a chance there that I think Cryo actually dies.
I think it was the plan. I think that was the plan, to make it an easier swing.
That is possible, but I mean, like, do you expect the player to just be right there, perfectly lined up?
I mean, if you give them the one way, if you give them the one way on purpose, you would expect it, I guess.
They still lost the round, though, Vincent. Sure. I will say that. So definitely, you know, you give them some good, you give them some bad, you bring them back around to the good, and you know they are heading into this round. Shade is going to get first blood finally, 40 many seconds into the round, and so now, what's the game plan? There's only 30 left for Cosmic to try and get onto the site.
Well, I think they've only got one game plan here, and that's going to be pushing towards A. As that is a nice opening couple of kills. Cryoselv makes it look very simple and easy. 2 players quickly dispatched. Shade has to come up big here and isn't ready for Inex sitting on the site. So now you save. I feel like you have to save this. Sure, there's 2 players. Okay, maybe not if he gets this kill. No, but Benji falls. That's a must-win gunfight for Benji. That's so brutal. Now it's just on to the Sova. 1 versus 3. 2 players quite tagged low, to be fair. So can Dip really afford not to go for this? It's so hard.
It's a tough ask since it is the 1v3, and you know we've seen previously Cosmic Divide have been quite stellar with their trading pattern. So I think this is going to be the right play. Pick up the operator, slow walk yourself out. As long as Inex doesn't catch you with pants down here, you're in good shape. But all right, yeah, good shape. Run it. Just that's the best play possible from that situation, and you may be able to get more, but it does look like they're just going to be not hunting, which I think is the right play for CD right now.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have all that much cash to contend with. Yes, they've won a couple of rounds. They haven't won any rounds. That was the first, I should say. And, you know, they have a little bit of money, but not quite enough to really justify 3 players dying.
I need my thanks.
So,
this goes
nonetheless, here it is, reinvestment from Trade Like Pros. This has been a much better start for them in map number 2. Remember that first map ended 13-2, already having more rounds this map than they did in the last. Is definitely a way to start things out here as we get into round number 5 here. Cosmic Divide looking to push towards the B.
They're gonna clear out Hookah quite effectively. You can see the aggressive player Dip is making their way back downtown into the back of the Beast side. Paint Can is gonna stall them a little bit, but they're not so concerned since that was their own paint can. But yeah, I mean, cameras and tripwires galore. They have rotated Darkest over to the B site just due to the sound that's being made. Here comes the execution as well. Smokes come in, blast packs are out, and they're on the site already. Shots onto Inix. He's actually gonna fall through the wall.
That's that. You know, that's the struggle, right? If you get tagged with any of those darts or drones, you're over. Sonar dart looked like he was coming out, but not to be. 2 players tagged low for Trade Like Pros, but that's okay. They're clearing out some of these angles. That hot hands is going to allow for some space to get back in here. 1 player sitting ready and waiting inside the cube, and that's going to be dispatched quite easily. Now Darkest tries to get halfway. It's forced off of it by 1 player, and oh, that's such a great angle from Cryocell's. Terms finds 1 as well. Cryocell's does fall to Shade, leaving 2 on 2, and Dip wins the gunfight as well. So this makes it look quite easy. But no! What a great angle! Do they have time? I think they do. It's awful close though. And well, oh no! Wait, 1 more! 0.14 seconds, Doc!
Heartbreak Corral. How do you lose that round? Everything was so clutch there from TLP, and it just wasn't clutch enough. They had the shots, they had the trades, and I mean, even that kill from Venture with the shock dart was crazy clean. Like, that is amazing. But then the instant trade back from Shade should have made it worth it, and just everything bad happens, right? Because Trade Like Pros, they've now lost 2 in a row. They lost everybody since the spike exploded onto Shade, killing them. So they have no weapons. The blades are out. They get a kill, but they got nothing to back them up.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard, right? To try and determine, especially as Darkest and Shade, they find 2. Actually, you said they don't have anything to back them up, but it looks like the rest of the players are certainly backing them up just fine. Darkest healing up with this wall. I'm going to find something there. That Neural Theft does come out. The Blade Storm's still good. So 2 on 4 here. Cosmic Divide. What do? They get aggressive. Terms winning out that gunfight. Now down to just 2 daggers left. Is Shade. Has to find something. The player comes around, takes out the pistol. Wrong time. Terms once more. Gets another, and it's 2 on 2. Evening up these numbers. And well, the problem is the spike. Right, where do you go with it? Omen has it on the back. Cosmic Divide, they've got pretty much the opportunity to go anywhere, but unfortunately they're walking into this 2-player stack.
Yeah, this is best case scenario for Trade Like Pros. They have 0 clue where anybody is at the moment, and it's just so kindly for Cosmic Divide to walk into him. Benji with the camera is just making sure they haven't hopped out of hookah by now, and they're going to get the first instinct. Here comes the cyber cage. There's no time left as it's ticking away. Benji's gonna try and get something cheeky here. Does get 1, spikes down, but it's a 1-on-1 now. Sheriff versus a Vandal. Who's gonna come out ahead? It's the Vandal of Inix.
Inix, who else? What a clutch player for this Cosmic Divide roster. They even up the scoreline, but boy, was that a close eco round. If I am Trade Like Pros, I'm loving that one. 3-3 now. Cosmic Divide, they're still up a map, but it's okay. Especially if Trade Like Pros are going to continue playing like this on their opponent's pick. It's absolutely brilliant stuff. So, with the guns out, what do you want to see from Trade Like Pros this round, Doc?
I kind of want to see the same aggression that we saw last round, just now that they have the weapon, so it seems more impactful. Like, even though, yes, it eventually came down to the 2v2, the initial flurry of action coming out from Trade Like Pros gave them such an advantage because it wasn't really trades, right? It was a 5v3 at one point. So they had the advantage. They could have fallen away completely and not given up any type of room, but it just wasn't the play from Cosmic Divide to allow them to do so. So now that they have full weaponry, SVL's picking up a frag there, which completely opens the door for Cryo to not have to use those knives just yet.
Yeah, Showstopper certainly puts a stop to 1 player into this round. And Bladestorm is propped and ready to go as well. There's a Hunter's Fury potential on the other side. Nice shot,
that's a nice
great
shot.
find from Shade. Close by. There's that Hunter's Fury I was talking about coming through from Dip. Trying to clean out some of this area in lamps. That's just that, but SVL with the frags finds 2. Benji puts it into that one. As the shock darts come out, trying to deny Benji that area. 8 bullets left in the chamber.
Last
2
player
players
standing.
alive. Sherms gets that first one. Dip falls. So 7 bullets and a dream here for Benji. Has to pull it off. That spike ticking away, and it seems it's too far gone. Venture with the frag anyway. As Trade Like Pros fall once more. And it's a
Sherms
lead for Cosmic Divide.
Oh, James actually lives. Oh, I didn't think they were gonna live, but great stuff from Cosmic Divide. I mean, even though Shade had a nasty shot there in the beginning to, open up that retake situation, SVL still gets the better of them with the Vandal shot. And that is something that cannot be happening to Shade. You need to be so on point with this operator. It's such a huge investment for the team. And if you're only getting 1 frag every other round with it, it's just simply not worth it. Whereas when we saw Cosmic Divide on the defense last map with that operator, it was so disgusting to see the things that was happening with that pick. And it completely changes the game at that point.
Yeah, it certainly did. And, well, change the game. That's what Trade Like Pros are trying to do with some of this aggression. Dip in hand with the Marshall, unable to connect with shots, allowing for the opening here at B. Trade Like Pros still have 3 players alive, so it's 3-on-4, but Inox, what a position that Inox is in right now. Is not going to end up finding anything off the back of it, but it would have been pretty brilliant as he was keeping everyone contained within that one area of the map. So
much
now,
noise.
oh, the Bucky though, this can still be good. Now, but the Inox comes out on the other side. That's run 1 with the Bucky, but it's just 1. And, I mean, a couple kills. It's the investment that they had. Trade Like Pros definitely are not too frustrated with the outcome there.
No, it does do a little bit of damage to the economy here. You can see that, SVL was down to 100 credits. They're trying to do some math, and they reinvest and, make some changes to their portfolio. So they managed to bring SVL back in line with the rest of the team. Whereas on the side of Trade Like Pros, a lot of them are not doing so hot, and they even have half armor there on the Darkest. Is middle of the pack right now, but we've seen some great stuff from them. We've seen some really nice shots from every member of Trade Like Pros for the most part. Unfortunately, they just can't seem to all do it at the same time.
Yeah, it's about popping off together. Ooh, that's very good from Darkest.
Yes.
You do like to see that, don't you? Easy does it with the run it back. I mentioned Darkest not necessarily hasn't necessarily had like the best of tournaments so far. Darkest has been playing very well in this series. Dynasty now with another frag. It's tagged down very low off the back of that, and SVL trying with that showstopper to bring something out. Paint canisters don't make it, but okay, SVL, that's just not fair. Like, give Dynasty a chance at the very least.
That is quite gross.
I mean, he's just literally swinging at a rate of knots. Shade, though, what a great position. That's a great frag. SVL had no idea, but lining him up and knocking him down here is CryoCells. Finding the first, uses both of those jumps in order to get into a position that's more favorable. The spike is still down, but with 20 seconds left, can CryoCells do anything here? All 3 players committed to the site, or I should say 2, 1 in hookah. And that information not going to be all that useful. Now 10 seconds left. I think CryoCells just going to have to save, potentially. Let's spot out the gun barrel. No. That's around the wall. Try something. Baits out a peek, but Benji and company, they swing together. So, Trade Like Pros, they played that pretty perfectly, I have to say. Nice job.
Yeah, that ended up being a really strong round off the back of Darkest there, being able to pick up 2 frags from a pretty standard position as well, just straight up out aiming their opponent in that situation. And Shade being in a very uncomfortable position for Cosmic Divide. You can tell that they simply had no idea they were set up on B long, and it completely, ruined the spike plant that they had in mind. So once that's done and dusted, Cosmic was kind of in a bad spot with Cryo just being stuck alone there in hookah position, and Shade once again gonna get the opening blood here. Great stuff from them.
Yeah, and Shade was a player who we just didn't see making those sorts of plays in the prior map, something that we need to see here for Trade Like Pros. A little bit of maybe an overpeak, but fortunately able to get away with their life is Shade. Pulls out the Blade Storm in response, trying to find something. There's one of those daggers through, and what a perfect shock dart. Are you kidding me? Not even any information off the back of that, but it is a shock dart trade. 2 players left alive, make it 1 for Cosmic Divide. It's NX with the spike in hand, moves over towards B. A brutal teleport right onto the box where Benji's ready and waiting to shoot him in the face.
That might have been because of the fat teleport indicator now, right? Like previous patches, he may have been able to, you know, land onto the soft pile of sand at that point, but due to the changes, he is going to end up on top of the box. And like you said, it's just going to get smacked right down. So this map is looking so much closer than I honestly expected after map number 1 there. I mean, you come in off of a 13-2, and now you're basically tied going into the half. That is completely disparity. Yeah, on your opponent's map pick. It just goes to show how practiced these teams are on bind specifically.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. It is definitely down to, you know, anybody can win at any time despite the records. And that's what we were discussing there on the desk and continuing to do here. A nice little bit of utility going out for Darkest, as well as that wall. I do like the placement of that wall. It just denies so much information there for the attackers as they come in. We did see that Cryo Cells had popped out a Blade Storm. Then there's a couple of ultimates as well, both from the shadows available, as well as that neural theft for the attack. And yeah, that's a great tag from Shade. You really love to see that one. Still 5-on-5, but you have to feel as if Trade Like Pros are at the advantage.
They are going to get the bait teleport, and they do get him to send back to home, but Churn's coming through with the Sheriff. It's just going to barrel stuff Dynasty here into Lamson. So now here comes the Hunter Sheriff coming in from the defensive side. Isn't going to find anybody just yet, but it is still a stalled push here on the side of Cosmic Divide. Darkest in a great position to stop this plant. The plant goes down anyway, but how are you supposed to defend from here in this 3v4 situation?
I mean, you hit shots. That's what you got to do. Players coming in from seemingly all angles. Cryostel somehow finds a timing where nobody's looking, but Benji swings around very quickly. SVL does get a kill, but it's quickly followed up by Venture. SVL with another, leaving just 1 player. That's Dip, who has to run away from those paint canisters. Now versus 2. What do you do? Tags the Spike, tries to get the spray, but the spray is gone. Thrifty for Cosmic Divide.
That's a tough round to lose. You had the man advantage, you had the economic advantage. That should have been a good round for Trade Like Pros, but it turns out Cosmic Divide are just as good at trading bodies as well. They somehow come ahead right at the end there, and everybody fall. Even with Cryo not getting a kill at all, which I thought was going to blow the round wide open. They had the backs turned to him. Nobody was expecting him at that point, and the Sheriff shot just went somewhere, not where they wanted it to go, and so they do end up still winning the round, thankfully. So it is now 6-5 in favor of Cosmic, but this is last round before the swap, and Shade's getting aggressive.
I mean, somehow Cosmic Divide managed to really trade like a pro. I traded 3 for 4. What a nice shot! Somehow,
the trade!
I cannot believe that Cryocells got that kill, but what a great trade, you're right. The paranoia comes through, but Dip somehow dodges it and gets a kill through the wall. This round is ridiculous. I don't even know what's happening at this point. NX close by does take something. Takes away that owl drone, I should say, not just something. 2 players close by, they can line up, keeps the spray, but it's not enough bullets. So Darkest gets a trade immediately. So, I mean, listen, I was making a comment about how Trade Like Pros certainly didn't trade like pros in the 4v3, but now they've somehow managed to trade 3-1. So, who am I to speak? Venture now left in the 1-on-3 and immediately gets killed by Dynasty, closing things down here in easy fashion.
Switching sides.
6-6 on the half. Bind. We talked about it a little bit earlier, where Bind and Ascent were traditionally the most even maps, and you literally can't get any more even than a 6-6 half. So the teams are definitely showing practice. They're showing resolve. Trade Like Pros are able to come in after that absolute slacking? Just beat down. Let's go that way. Yeah, just no good map number 1. Let's put it that way. They came in mentally reset, however. They're staying strong. They're able to drag out a lot of these rounds that didn't seem to be going their way. The Thrifty, yeah, that's whatever. But for the most part, even once they started losing here, they lost 5 in a row and still were able to turn the Jets back on and take back 3.
Okay, so here's where you start to see the struggles for Trade Lake Pros, I think, depending on how this rolls. I was going to make a point, but I'll just hold that off as SVL comes through the teleporter, making things look quite easy. Darkus is here with company to try and trade. Curveball goes around the corner, but timing's not there. So that's going to allow for SVL to take Dip down, and with that shock dart, it's going to be an easy frag for SVL to get 3. Now we had another fake canisters come out, and that's another kill. Just incredible. SVL is just popping heads. There's the ace for SVL in round number 1 of the second half. And I mean, let me just say, I was going to get to this point, but I'll mention it now. Trade Lake Pros on this map, they have nearly a 60% defensive win rate, whereas it's 36 on their attack. Their attack is where they struggle, and that's the issue here. You know, they had a great first half, don't get me wrong, but their first half, their defensive half, is where they are awesome, and this is where they tend to struggle.
I don't even know if that round I would classify as like a struggle attacking round, because
No.
SVL just like ran right through him like butter, and like there wasn't really much room for them to even, you know, stop that. I mean, the best scenario they had was, you know, after the teleport play when you had 2-man peeking at the same time, and you know, Darkus trying to get something going back here. Bolt curveball's already being used. Cryo's gonna peek him at the right time, and even though this is an A hit strong, they're still not getting the betterment of the site.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I don't think there was, you know, it wasn't as if that was a bad tactical error from TLP. They got outshot by SVL having a great round. But in general, though, this is where I really do worry for them. This is a bit of an eco, though, so, you know, not a big deal. They already got a kill, which is fairly nice, especially with the limited investment that they had. Looks like they might be heading towards B here. There's one player in defense, but there is a rotation coming through.
Yeah, they're playing some games right now. You know, they did use a lot of utility over at the A site. They got a couple kills for themselves, and they got 1 kill for themselves, and they're rotating back over. But like you said, the rotation has come through, so it is going to be this 2v3. The camera peek does not work as Dip actually takes down Inox, and so now it's back to a 3v3 with the weaponry fairly even, considering the Sheriffs are a 1-tap kill.
So that bait with the camera is so impressive. I really love that. The shock dart not going to be connecting with anything. As Venture gets to try and get some more information. Sees that there's at least 1 player here. And the shock darts, I mean, it's kind of like that, the old trade back and forth, but oh no, that's the showstopper. That's a bit brutal. Confirms 1, and Venture gets the other, leaving Shade alone. He's found the first, but it's simply a matter of time as SVL closes that frag down. And it's another round. 8-2-6 now for Cosmic Divide.
What's crazy about that play, too, in Elbow is that Benji was not caught by that recon dart, so they actually had no idea that he was tucked away in that corner there. And so SVL getting the kill onto Venture, not Venture, excuse me, onto Dip was great and all, but that was the player you knew was there. Benji was the surprise, and yet somehow Venture still wins that duel. So it was a nice little combination of a 1-2 peak there from Cosmic Divide, and it left Shade into that untenable situation in the 1v3. Just the Sheriff. They do get 1 nicely, and you can see here that the buy coming in here from Cosmic is... It's a bit of a gimme. It's a bit of a bonus round, but we'll see what they can do with it.
Of charges.
Well, Dip certainly says I can do something. That's a nice shot on Phoenix. Swing is there, but Dip stands strong. So a 2-for-1 deal, not too shabby. Trade Like Pros as they push out onto A. There's nobody really home, and this is a nice little plant. The terms is ready and waiting here in U-Haul. It's going to be a matter of time. There's 1. He's ready for it. The second is good.
No.
Finds another and recovers a Vandal. This is a bit problematic. Could he find another Tags Dynasty? But it's not going to be enough. And oh no, those fake canisters. Fortunately for Dynasty, they got stuck on a corner. Information gained there. SVL winning the fight. Shade is going to fall. And now it's just a hunt of Dynasty. He's found the first, gets the teleport, but Venture knows where. And that's, you said, a bit of a gimme, but Cosmic Divide, they come out victorious.
I'm surprised that wasn't a thrifty call, actually, because they definitely came in with less money spent there. But either way, it's another round win. They're one away from double digits now, and that round was just odd across the board. I mean, having Cherms able to pick up 2 kills there with the Spectre is just worst case, right? Like, there is no shot Trade Like Pros should be losing multiple members to lamps like that. Like, nobody even checked it. Cherms completely free of any type of pressure, and then they checked it, right? But like, they just kind of casually walked in. Like, they were like, lamps, it's, you know, there's nobody gonna be checking this angle. Turns out there was. Again, what is happening?
It seems like at this point, Cosmic Divide is just winning out gunfights right now. I mean, it's just incredible. CryoCell speaks into a shock dart, but finds an operator to the face, does their opponent. So, honestly, who cares? It's simply Darkus left in a 1-on-4. Darkus has had a great game so far here on Vine. Can he do this? It's called task, and, well, one in which he'll fall at the first hurdle. So, now it is going to be that double-digit rounds advantage for Cosmic Divide. Trade Like Pros are floundering here in the half.
Yeah, this second half is starting to really get away from them. 4 in a row now for Cosmic Divide, and not all of these rounds have been the best look for Cosmic Divide, right? Like, they've come in, some shoddy weaponry, they just made it work when they needed it to, and now they've got the economy rolling. I mean, everybody is juiced on this team. They got full weaponry, full kits coming through, and then they have at least one backup as well. So even if they fall, it's not like they're really losing too much. And even if they lose multiple members, they have enough in the bank to rebuy pretty much everybody. So this round, Trade Like Pros basically have to win this round if they want any chance at winning this map.
Yeah, I would agree. Must win round. And well, CryoCell's through the doorway. I mean, come on, man. That guy is just incredible. Every single time CryoCell seems to be winning out gunfights. Shade needs an operator in his hands in order to contend with him. But we'll see what happens here. There's one player on this bit brutal angle. This is for the attackers. Attacks down 2, and those paint shells, they might be okay. Fortunately, able to get away. Is the player in hookah not going to be taking too much damage? But CryoCell's forward position now against Dynasty. Shitter peek is there. Missed shot though. Rare one from CryoCell. Paranoia is there, but it swings out. Left. It is a 1-for-1 trade, but it doesn't matter. There's still 2 players disadvantage there. Cosmic Divide in 1.5.
Last player standing.
Dip didn't have the most health points going into that peak, and so unfortunately they do fall, as well as SVL picking up the final kill there nicely. And so 11-6 now. Cosmic Divide are looking amazing here in this second half. I mean, 5-0, Vincent. Like, that is a crazy half here on Bind Defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a solid half. You know, you never want to see that if you are sitting on the attacker side of things, but Trade Like Pros are just falling a little bit flat. And I think that the part of the issue right now for them is they don't appear to have like a really solid plan in place. Like, look at what they're doing right now. They're doing a default. This is normal, right? You like to see that. In fact, they're getting a little bit aggressive here towards long, pushing back some of the defense and trying to force the rotation. They've done that effectively. There's 3 players rotating around, and they used to run it back to get inside. So they're going to get the B site pretty much for free as everyone falls back. But then, what do you do? From here, now the big question marks start as CryoCells comes back in. That's what an incredible shot from CryoCells. How do you get that one? Cherms with 2. Hunter Shuri comes out, gets a tag, and a little bit more. Cherms makes 3 and a 4th as well with the pistol, just to say, I'm here, no problem. You better sit down.
And that is probably gonna do it. It's one more rifle round here for Trade Lake Pros, but half armor on half of the members. And that last round, like, Krause's obviously hit an amazing shot, but then you could see the rest of the team, once that, you know, first member falls, they just completely lost track of where they were on the site. And Trams takes full advantage of that, getting a bunch of free kills. I mean, the one in Hookah, they completely got blindsided, right? Like, they just had no clue what was going on due to the teleport bait. Dynasty! All right, that's gross. That's not supposed to happen there.
Yeah, nice job lining him up, and Shake finds one as well. So this is looking okay for Trade Like Pros here, but you know, the bigger problem that they had in the prior round was that they didn't make a decision. Honestly, they were stuck in a position where they tried to push off the back of a run it back, but nobody pushed out. Now in a good spot, but doesn't have the weaponry to deal with it. Dynasty, Darkest, they clean things up. A flawless round there, Trade Like Pros. So they are still in this game, but like I was saying, Doc, it was just a step behind. They didn't take advantage of any of the space created by Darkest when pushing on to B. So that's happened a couple of times. I really need to see that change up if they're not going to be able, because that's, you know, rounds like that prior round, you win because you outshot your opponents. They didn't outmaneuver their opponents. Whenever Cosmic Divide are shooting well enough to just get the kills, Trade Lake Pros tactically are just not looking very strong.
Yeah, and I am curious what the initial frag there looked like, because Darkest obviously got the double kill, but you know what led up to that is we just see Cryo Cells just abusing the members of Trade Like Pros. They do get one back here from Div with Onto's Fury, but you still have Cryo alive. Cryo took 0 damage for that type of aggression. That cannot be going unpunished. And so now Dip does finally get the nice kill back on the flank. Spike still not planted though.
Man, Cryo Cells is just a different breed. It's just the reality of the situation.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, that's a very nice pink
tiny.
Down A. One enemy remaining.
Tough spot. Dynasty that wins most gunfights, despite the fact that Venture should have had that trade. SVL, the sole player left here. Now with the spike in hand, it is the rotation, so it's still 2-on-1, but now over at B.
And it is going to be spiked down as well. No paint cans available. Blast pack is being used, so it won't have that available. Completely done with utility. Has to just do this live. Has to hit every single shot from here on out. 36 HP. It's not looking amazing, even though it is probably actually it's 1 HP, I would say. They're on the Dip, but the flank comes in from Dynasty. 3K on the board. And somehow, Trade Lake Pros are still alive in this map.
Oh, round by round, that's what you got to do. You know, they convert that 2-on-1 scenario very well. I really liked how they played that. You know, I talked about how I'm not impressed with the tactics of Trade Lake Pros, and I agree with those statements that I made. But their fundamentals are quite strong. They're playing, you know, 1v2, 2vx situations perfectly. They definitely know what to look for on the defaults. They have a lot going for them. It's just the conversion on some of these more important gun rounds that simply have not been there. And then, of course, when you have Cryo Cells playing so incredibly and just making plays that shouldn't happen, that, you know, throws a little bit of a monkey wrench into any team's plan.
Now, Shade's going to finally have that operator and wins out over Cryo, but look at the trigger. Discipline. They can only get one. Inox only able to get one is absolutely tragic there. They do get the run back here from Darkest, who's done an amazing amount of work with this ultimate. They are going all the way through. They're going to push on through this double smoke here. Can't quite get anything afterwards, though, but I mean, I think they've already done what they needed to by taking down Inox.
Absolutely. The fact that Inox only gets one there is brutal. And with all players coming in here from one direction, it's a little bit worse as well. Benji and Hookah is going to be the crux. Benji needs to make sure not to overpeak here, not to give too much away. 2 players committed, or I should say 3 committed over here towards long. Paranoia comes out, the showstopper in. Is not going to come out with anything though. As now the 2 players in Hookah have to fight. Venture with one, SVL trading one back on the Dynasty, but that's going to be it. Now the spike is ticking away. SVL has to do it all, gets the kill somehow, but the timer is too far ticked, I think. But, oh no! .49! 4-9! Oh my goodness! Half a second! Doc! What did we just watch?
That is absolutely magical, hitting those two off-angle headshots into Hookah to win the map. Like, obviously the defuse is great, but that is at that point completely out of your hands, right? You were just holding down your 4 key, hoping you got enough time, but the shots are what made that play beautiful. And to be able to win out over both players and that type of situation, nerves of steel, ice in the veins, absolute masterful play there from SVL.
Holy cow, man. That was a roller coaster of the map too. And despite the fact that Trade Lake Pros did really step things up there at the on map 2, this will go down as a pretty dominant series. I think 10 rounds total in 2 maps is a little bit rough, for Trade Lake Pros. But I think that this is kind of, at least in my book, where I expected them to be in the main event. I think that they could definitely make a play to get out of groups, but it was a little bit too tall of a mountain to climb. In particular, I have to say that it's, Darkus had a great performance right there, but the lack of Rano on the IGL is really, really tough, I think, for this team. They really look lost there on the attacker sides. And if you recall, their bind attack was not ideal either. So I really, really love what Trade Lake Pros has put on, but I really think that they need to go back to the drawing board with regard to some of those attacker halves.
Yeah, and this is something we've seen from them in the past as well. So it is something that they are working on. It is something they are trying to scrap together and improve upon. And to make it this far is honestly amazing, right? We've had so many teams through the qualifiers, through the group stage, and with Trade Lake Pros being able to come out ahead over the majority of those teams is still a great showing. It's just that this time Cosmic Divide were something else. And so they are going to be moving on here. They're going to be waiting for the final matchup between Noble versus Last Round Save. The winner of that will obviously come up against Cosmic Divide. So that is upcoming later. And I mean, let's take a look at this scoreboard real quick for that map number 2, since it was the closer of the two. I mean, look at that. SVL 331 combat score, 25, 15, and 9 there as the final tally with an econ of 60. That is quite nutty in and of itself.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like it kind of goes to show you that, SVL, who had an incredible game, wasn't even necessarily, or didn't even feel like was necessarily the nuttiest player in that Cryocells exists. Like, you know what I mean? But then you start to think back and you're like, well, there was that 1v2 at the very end, and then there was the ace of the pistol round. And you're like, holy crap, SVL was incredible too. What? You know what I mean? Like, that feeling when you walk out of the the game and you're thinking, oh, well, this person had a good game, this one had a good game. And then you realize, holy cow, yeah, SVL actually popped off and had an incredible game. But 7 first bloods, that's just such a key stat. Cryocells, just able to pick up that first kill of the round so often, so many times, it really turns things around. And you look at the opposing jet of Shade, who actually had a good game. 16 and 17, yes, you're like, oh, well, that's negative. I don't think it really matters in a game like this where it's so close. That's still a good scoreline. And 5 first bloods as the operator player, I think that you're doing your job very well. But it was just Cryocells able to be that much better, that extra gear to shift up into. And I mean, it just took my breath away a couple of times, as well as, I mean, realistically, I love the fact that both of these two teams were playing so closely there on Bind, though.
Yeah, and I think Shade, like, yes, you can point to the negative KDA, which I guess technically it's not negative because of the assist portion of it as well. But when you look at a scoreline like that, I don't think that's necessarily poor for a Jet player, right? Like, when you look at some of the other stats here, a 69 econ rating, that's actually better than both of the duelists we saw on Cosmic Divide. Like, that is a crazy stat in a time where they died more than either of the opposing duelists. So that's crazy. You get 5 first bloods on top of that as well. You're rocking the operator as much as humanly possible. It's not the Jet that needs you to win the game there. They open the round so that the rest of the team can pick up the slack and continue to really do something. And that is kind of where Trade Like Pros kind of fell apart at a certain point, right? Like you can look at the top of the scoreboard for this game specifically, and it's Dynasty Dip Shade, right? Darkest, it's tough. They had some really, really great plays, but when you look at the map as a whole, it's not quite up to what you want from them. So as we do look ahead to future tournaments and future events, I would like to see Trade Like Pros be able to kind of share the load a little bit and not quite rely on certain players as much as everyone else. And, you know, again, looking at scoreboards, looking at stats, you be like, oh, well, you know, Cosmic Divide, their 2 duelists are, you know, the best in the game. And it's like, yeah, cool, great. But we still saw clutch plays coming in from both Churms and Venture that really helped carry them through across the finish line here.
Yeah, it certainly did. So Cosmic Divide 2-0 over Trade Like Pros. It definitely is interesting, and I think that we've kind of gone over the issues there. I think the attacker side, a big issue for Trade Like Pros at the moment. Cosmic Divide, their fraggers just look out of this world, Doc. They really do. Cryo cells and you know, specifically cryo cells, but then also SVL. Like, and to be clear, like, Churms had some huge rounds. Venture wasn't having a bad game by any means either. Like Inox was getting kills. Like you know how sometimes you see a team that has like 1 or 2 big star players and that they really pop off, but those are like the only 2 players that exist on the server for the team.
Yeah.
That's not the case for Cosmic Divide. They absolutely make it look easy. Whenever you know, whenever they are making the pushes in, and I'm just really impressed with them. But I want to kind of move along a little bit, if you don't mind, Doc. And I want to, whilst we have a few minutes to wait, we have to wait on the other games finishing. I want to talk about what's going on the other sides of the bracket. I've heard from our producer that On the Way is actually up 1 map against Sakura Storm, as well as last round Save, I believe, up 1 map against Noble, which I think is actually the bigger deal. But let's talk On the Way Sakura Storm real fast. Did you? I don't know how much you've looked into either of those teams, because obviously we weren't casting them. But did you have a feel like who should come out on top there?
I'm definitely a big Sakura Storm fan. I've seen the team before. We've seen it at the Pit of Valor. We've seen them in the qualifiers. The team's quite nutty. So I had an inkling that they were going to be coming in hot today, and we're going to look really good here. On the Way, I have, you know, talked about them before. They're also a good team, but definitely, you know, my gut reaction here was the Sakura Storm. We're going to be coming out ahead. Clearly, map number 1 didn't break their way. It was close though. It was 13-8, so it wasn't exactly, you know, a blowout, right? So there is still hope heading into map number 2. And, you know, we don't quite have, you know, any results yet from Seeker versus Akela, but looking at On the Way versus Sakura Storm, that is also a scary, you know, first round map or match to feature, right? Because that is going to be 2 teams that a lot of times you are seeing quite late in the tournament. And, you know, it's tough to see both of them going up at this stage of the game, because it does mean that we are going to be potentially losing out on a really strong contender in round 1. That's just the name of the game though, right?
Well, I mean, listen, I feel like at this point, every contender is a strong contender here. Like I would say the only no, I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't go there. I was about to absolutely demolish a team, and I thought better of it. I was like, yeah, no, they didn't deserve that. So never mind. Yeah, but in general, everybody is a contender. They've not only made it through big qualifiers, they've made it through the group stage. They've come out victorious, you know, finishing top 2. But I will say that for me, On the Way is just I know in our VAL-AM pre-show, myself and Strive and Endless actually had On the Way as a potential victor here, all the way going all the way. On the Way going all the way. I swear I didn't do it on purpose, honestly. But yeah, you know, a team that's incredible, former Easy 5 roster, as well. That's who they were before they got picked up by On the Way, and then like On the Way also beat Sakura Storm in the Spectral qualifier too. So I kind of think that On the Way are the preferred team there, especially since like they not only beat them in Spectral Qualifier, they beat them by a lot. And if I'm taking a look here at the form that that On the Way has been in, I'm pretty sure that they have some like huge victories recently. Yeah, okay. So they like finished 9th to 16th in Challengers 3. Like they beat Equinox before they dropped their roster, and then they lost by taking a map off of NRG. That's how good On the Way is right now. So, you know what I mean? It's just a little bit difficult to deal with a roster that's like on that hot of a streak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so I mean they already up 1-0. They're I don't have the score yet for their second map just so far, but I mean we're getting some more results in for the other side of that bracket as well. We do have Seeker and Akela just coming up. Just as I mentioned them, I don't know if I cast or cursed them at a certain point within the 4 seconds I mentioned them, but pretty much as soon as I talked about them, we got our result, and it was actually 2-0 Seeker over
What?
Akela. So they will be moving on, and the Seeker will now be facing the winner of On the Way versus Sakura Storm. So that map 2 is underway. I imagine that at a certain point we will find out the current scoreline there as well. But again, top side of the bracket, we also have Noble last round save, the only matchup that we have not yet talked about. Which again, looking here, last round save, they actually took map 1 against Noble.
Hold on, I need to. Can we walk this back a little bit, Doc? Seeker beat. They beat.
Yeah.
They beat.
It's 13-7
That's
map
incredible.
number 1 and 13-8 map number 2.
I am blown away. The reason I'm blown away here is, so I mean no disrespect to Seeker, I really don't, but
this doesn't precede many good sentences.
No, it doesn't. But I had them coming in as one of the weakest teams here in the main event, much less, and I had very little faith that they would make it out of groups. They kind of haven't beaten anyone good ever. Like the best that they have ever done is lose to Zero Marksman and Lunch Club. Like that's their most notable results for this tournament. They were able to squeak out enough victories to get in through the Spectral Esports qualifier. They came in 4th in that qualifier, and I'll be honest, I kind of feel like that was one of the weaker qualifiers because last round save they got beat in that qualifier early on. They got upset twice by YFP and Hotcakes. So like the fact that the fact that like Seeker got through, I think was fortunate, but hey, props to them, right? You only can beat the teams that are in front of you, and you take the victory, dude, absolutely well deserved. But then when I saw that they got out of groups, I had to say I tweeted today at them and I said, hey, listen, like that's my bad, guys. Like you guys beat Take Flight like twice, which is a legit team. And then on top of that, you guys also took a map off of On the Way. So like that's really good. I was really impressed. But then I'm like, okay, well now here's where the rubber meets the road, right? Like or rather they took a map off of Noble. My apologies. I'm like, okay, well here's where the rubber meets the road because they're playing Akela, who I had in my top 5 to go out. And the fact that they've come out victorious, I don't know what Seeker's on, but they are absolutely having a heater of a tournament. This is the beauty of tournaments like this, right? Despite the fact that they were underdogs coming in, you can have a hot run. And when you're just shooting shots, man, you're shooting shots. And that's what seems to be what they're doing. You love to see it. That's all I can say because I was really surprised. And Akela's kind of a team that is a bunch of big fraggers from a bunch of different teams all thrown together in one org at this point. So they had a lot. They're kind of at this point a bit of a pug mix because they're new. So I could see how they could lose, but I thought their raw skill would take them over the edge, Doc. Sorry, I had to go off on a tangent there because my mind got blown. Congratulations to Seeker, man. That is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations. They won the first round here. They are potentially going to be heading up against On the Way, who you previously mentioned are incredibly strong. They are still in that map number 2. So again, we'll get an update there in just a second. And this is looking like a very spicy bracket here as we do see, the teams are heating up, right? Like so far, we've got 2 2-0s. Seeker obviously taking a 2-0, Cosmic Divide taking it 2-0, potentially 2 more 2-0s back behind it. Although I do believe it was Noble leading in map number 2 over there in that bracket after losing map number 1. So it is just on the way versus Sakura, who are going to be, the potential wild card of, do they go 2-0? Is it on the way coming out hot, or are Sakura Stone going to be able to bring it back? And so right now we are going to be keeping our eyes out, right? Because these teams, they're playing for the money, right? Like there is a lot of money here on the line tonight. You're muted. Muted.
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. I had a cough, and so nonetheless, yeah. Seeker and Cosmic, they already have $150 in their pocket, and the Knights are young. Though I am curious, by the way. I wanted to know your thoughts. So we're already here. It's the easy mode version of this since we did it with 16 teams, but now that there's 8 and actually more accurately 7 teams, or 6 rather, left, who do you think is winning everything tonight? Like based on form, we've seen a little bit more from Seeker. Who do you have?
So I don't know how Seeker's 2-0 went. It was very significantly close though, so question marks there. On the way, again, close. So far, I do think Cosmic Divide have had the most dominant of victories. In technically the closest seeding as well. So that game should technically have been one of the closer matchups that we had here today. Heck yeah. I'm just gonna say Cosmic Divide. I'm just gonna go all out and say it. I've seen 2 maps from them, and I'm just gonna call it right now. They're taking the whole shebang.
I think that's really reasonable. Honestly, I had them up in my top 5, just to kind of reiterate, by the way. My top 5 were, let me find it. Okay, I didn't have them on my top 5. I lied. But that's because I had Akela in there. And I also had Project in there, who were the former, they had 2 former Roosters players who were at one point were top 30 in A. So I had a lot of faith in them, but they didn't end up doing well. But in that place, I feel like Cosmic Divide is right up there. That being said, I find it hard to know if they could be On the Way. On the Way is such a good team, man. They really are. I took a look, and I think that they're hold on, let me find it out live.
Right? That would be a grand finals matchup, because On the Way would have to finish beating Soccer Storm and then also beat Seeker, whereas Cosmic Divide would also have to beat either Noble or LRS. So that matchup might not even happen, truly.
I mean, I think it's definitely possible. The way that Cosmic Divide were looking, I think that they could pretty much beat anyone in front of them. But here, let me take a look. Yeah, so On the Way currently are on the way. Okay, there we go. They're currently ranked 35 in North America. They're ranked 4 places behind Cloud9 White. That's very much in that approaching tier 1 kind of spot. So for that reason, I really feel like On the Way are strong contenders here. But it's a position where Cosmic Divide, they looked so good right there against Trade Like Pros, who have a lot of respect for. So it's really difficult for me to determine, or at least, or even guess who they take, because also Noble's really good. That's the problem. There's literally so many good teams, and I'm who's gonna go which way? There's just, it's so difficult to try and take a gander at, right? The 2 players that I personally am really big fans of there on the Noble roster, let me pull them up real fast. They actually just pop off no matter what. Is Zekin and Jangler, as well as King, all incredible players, and so it's hard for me to bet against them. Not that we're betting anything, but you know what I mean.
I had
Come
channel
on.
points. I do believe we do have, at least on GLG, I do think we do have channel
True.
point polls and things like that to be taken a part of. So if you do have some spare channel points and you just want to, shoot gambles to them, make some more channel points or lose them all. That's obviously an option as well. That's how gambling works for those of you who are new to the sport. But yeah, I mean, they also Noble. They're already down 1-0. Yes, they may have been leading in map number 2, but we are still waiting on an update for that final scoreline there as well. I mean, these teams, they are knockdown, drag out, solid teams across the board, making sure that they are trying to play for as much money as they possibly can tonight, and as much of a placing as they can. And on the way, yes, they may be ranked quite highly in North America. But doesn't that just mean so much more if they do lose, if they do fall here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I would agree. Yes, it does mean a lot more. And Cosmic Divide, remember, they're used to be known as big frames, so like they're actually a really good team on their own. Just off the back of that, let me just take a look where they're currently ranked. Just to be clear, I am using the Spike GG for this, so like take these with a grain of salt. There's some of these rankings that are not really great on Spike GG, but they're improving things slowly and surely. Like Cosmic Divide is 10 ranks below, just 10. They're at 45, right? Like they're right next to Evil Geniuses, for example. So definitely no slouchers. They definitely have like a lot of potential. And so I'm just on the lookout. See, like this is what I mean. This is what I mean by take these rankings with a grain of salt, because somehow Able Esports is sitting at 41 and better than Cosmic Divide, and that's just not factually accurate. So as much as I love Able, they're so awesome, but they're not that good. So take them with a grain of salt, but those two I think are pretty accurate. You have to put put it into the machine, think about it a little bit, and then come out, and we'll see what comes out on the other side. But we are going to have to be waiting for the rest of these streams. So we're going to take a short little break over on this stream. Make sure you go tune in to the PlayerzZone channel, and that will be where the main stream is going on right now. So we'll be back here very shortly with some more action here at the PlayerzZone VAL-AM Invitational presented by GLG. We'll be back.
Welcome back, everybody, here for the PlayerzZone Invitational with your host, Laz, and of course, Jim Basco himself here for the best of three. How you doing, my man?
I am doing phenomenally. It was a really, really warm day outside today in New York City, so it was a great day, and it's turning out to be a great evening as we've got some crazy matches, and we just saw actually off stream Seeker pull off a crazy upset. So, you know, following that momentum, it's going to be hard to beat, and there's going to be amazing matches coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking really forward to this game. I mean, so for anybody not aware, I mean, you can see in the graphics, of course, but it is on the way versus Seeker, and I mean, before we, kind of get into the nitty gritty of all the details, I mean, let's just give a big shout out to our sponsors. And of course, I mean, you got to give a big shout out, of course, PlayerzZone. I mean, they are one of the only gaming and esport restaurants and lounge in upstate New York. I definitely can't wait to go there when I'm allowed to. And make sure to check them out, guys. They are a big supporter for us, and big kudos to them for sure.
Definitely doing a huge job for the amateur scene really across the nation, but really concentrating on this New York and upper Northeast area, doing an awesome job. And it's hard to compete, right? Like, you've got to be Immortal Plus to compete in this VAL-AM tournament, and we're seeing a high level of competition. And honestly, this is the first one that GLG's ever doing, so hopefully there's many, many more to come. This sort of like thriving tier 3 scene is exactly what you need for that real good T1 scene. And as we got Masters going on simultaneously, pretty much, you can see a lot of this talent is going to start making their way up to that tier 1 scene pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, even the last sponsor as well. I mean, Drink Control, I was, talking a lot about this last night. There is a discount code, so GLG10 for a 10% discount. So make sure you guys check it out. Definitely a nice, healthy alternative for a meal replacement. I mean, I definitely know I'm going to be calling them after this. But, let's, get past the sponsors and our big supporters that we much love and appreciate. But now let's kind of get into the details of this game. Like we were saying, it is going to be Seeker versus On the Way. And we have the map pool below us. And I mean, Jim, is anything really kind of sticking out for you at this point right now?
I mean, we've got double Ascent. The best of 3 is going to be interesting. If it does go to 3 maps, it's, going to be something to watch. Ascent on the first one. Okay, so obviously when you're looking at Ascent, right, it's a very, very long map. The lines of sight are very long. So if you've got people who are really confident on that op, who are really good with the assault rifles, you're going to see them find a lot of success, especially in controlling that mid area. However, Ascent is also another map that you can just kind of rush on. Like A and B site, it's all closed in. If you're able to get through that tunnel, set up on site on either A or B, you can play your game that way too. So really, it comes down to a preference of style between these two teams, and I'm excited to see what comes out. Like, honestly, too, like earlier today, I was watching Korean Masters and they play so aggressive. But just seeing that has got me so excited for LAN events and seeing all these new strats that are going to start popping up internationally. And then we're going to start seeing them in these tier 3 tournaments and be like, okay, maybe these collegiate tier 3 scenes are going to be the ones who pioneer the meta for tier 1 moving forward. Like, pull off some Overwatch GOATs kind of thing, but we'll have to see what happens there.
No, definitely. And I mean, just giving a little bit of history about these teams and, very interesting situation for, On the Way. These guys have been around for quite some time. I mean, they were playing in the Challengers and the Open Qualifier, where they actually came in the 9th and 16th place. So definitely some big wins, taking down like some big teams like Equinox, losing to NRG. But, again, like going against NRG is like a pretty big deal because, that's a tier 1 team that you're playing. They've also been able to play in like, in the First Strike qualifiers, things like that, Valorant Sunday Showdowns, and of course, even the Spectral qualifiers. So, these guys have been around for quite a long time. And honestly, in my opinion, I think this is probably one of the strongest teams in this event. I've definitely been seeing them, have some big wins against like Zoomer Academy, taking even Team Serenity down. Like they've definitely been taking names and just punching tickets left, right, and center.
Yeah, man. Tell me more. Like, for those viewers tuning in now who may have not had the opportunity to throughout this entire event, who are some standout players you've got your eyes on? Anyone that it might just be that dark horse for the team?
I think it's, I always forget if it's pronounced as like Guck, but I think he's like a pretty big player. And I know like J. Cruel as well. Like those guys kind of stick out a little bit for me, but Gookie. Yeah. Sorry. I just got told. All right. Even though I already knew I was going to get it wrong, but I think we used to call him like Gucci and stuff. And everyone's like, no, it's not that at all. But those guys stick out to me. But honestly, the one thing about this roster is that every single player really just seemed to pull up their weight when they need to. I don't think there's, in my opinion, like one player that's like the tens of the groups or something like that, right? Like everybody is contributing all the weight and definitely making some big impact.
Yeah, it's definitely amazing to watch. Like, Stories of teams really working together and not being tens and friends is what I want to see. And I think through that, we're going to see the level of competition just go through the roof, right? And I think a good example of something like that is like Cloud9 White, where you don't have individual skill prevailing, but that team's chemistry and synchronization is just so good. They're able to dunk on teams left and right. And so really coming into this match between Seeker and On The Way, you know, if you're in chat watching and you're vying for any of these teams, let us know who you want to see win, as we are heading into our first map on Ascent with On The Way on attack and Seekers on defense here. As for team comp, Laz, what are you hoping to see here?
You know, I think the most obvious is just like Omen is pretty much an instant pick. Asova is an instant pick. And I think that the biggest difference for me is like what we noticed even yesterday here in the stream is that we kind of saw that Jet was being played a little bit more than Reyna, but we can already see that Mazzy actually does pick the Reyna, and they actually do decide to go for the Jet as well. So, I mean, a very interesting play, and having two strong duelists like that, that's kind of a big standout for me. But otherwise, so far, everything's kind of looking pretty particular, but I guess we're kind of just waiting to see what both Cole and Governor want to lock in. But now, I mean, we can even see Killjoy will be initiated.
Yeah, I'm ready for these comps. I really like the prevalence of Killjoy recently. I think she's an awesome agent to watch play and at work, because the setups that some of these Killjoy players come up with are just downright disgusting. You know, if you ran into that in a ranked game, you would be upset, to say the least. So I'm really excited to see what these teams are going to be pulling off. And on the defense here, you actually see Mazzy going for that Reyna, which is kind of 50-50, right? When you're in the pro scene and when you're talking to a lot of people in higher ranks in ranked Q, Reyna's not too often picked just because she lacks a lot of the utility that a lot of these other agents can bring, just because she's got 2 blinds, and really that's pretty much it. Like, you can heal if you do get the trade, now if you get an assist, but you're relying on something that's kind of intangible. On the attack, however, I do like the Phoenix pick, and I think the Phoenix and Jet in conjunction with the Sova, things are going to be good. And now the attack looks like they're gearing up for a B-side push here, Laz.
And definitely looking like now On The Way, actually getting ready for a bit of a quick play here, potentially a B, and they look like they already have all their players invested into this. So not really any fakes, not going to be any lurks that we kind of saw yesterday. We saw a lot of mid control that happened from the attacking side on every team, but right now they're actually just going to be pushing in right away. And even Witness not able to find anything. His door shuts right in his face, and now the site fully up for grabs here for all the players. And now this is just going to be the retake situation here for Seeker.
Yeah, absolutely. 4-on-4 with Seeker positioning themselves with a more CT heavy presence. They don't have anyone B main. They're stacked 2-2 on CT and Margate here. And it is, once again, a 4-on-4. So the retake coming out. Cole up trying his best to clear B main. Checks left, check right. It's clear. They're going to push through lane now on both sides of this site, while the rest of On The Way just bunker down. And they find the opening kill onto the Jet. Governor opening things up and really finding so much information with that recon, while Seeker gets stuck in this lane while the Phoenix from On The Way pushes. But trades are coming out. Cole up trades back, and now it's a 3v1 Seeker. This is going to be rough to retake, and just like that, Leviathan finds the last kill there, securing that first round for On The Way.
Yeah, and that's kind of a ballsy play that we saw. I mean, from On The Way, I mean, they, you know, just did the full commitment, 5-man push. I mean, right into the site. I mean, it's kind of dicey, especially, you know, starting things off and kind of setting the tone of the match. And even now, I mean, they just kind of went right for it. They had a really quick execute that caught Seeker off guard. I don't think they were expecting something like that. And even now we can see they're getting a little bit, you know, with the Marshall in hand. They're going to try to see if they can get that Jet to make a couple openings to really push these players back. But this is a, you know, a good opportune time here for On The Way. And it already looks like, again, they're putting all the eggs in this basket of B.
Yeah, it really worked out. Oh my gosh. Witness just pushes into a little bit of the corner of that smoke and finds his head completely blown off. And now with the 5v4s start for On The Way, they're already on the site. Seeker had to completely back up, but Pure VNS finds 2 headshots back to back, kind of equalizing it for a moment there. Seeker now 2v3 as they do get the spike plant.
Yeah, it's definitely a costly round. I mean, for On The Way, I mean, now they've been able to get in the site, but definitely been a big price. A 3-on-2 situation. Marshall's still going to be in the hands now of Cole up. We'll have to see if he can find something. It's a little bit more difficult with a weapon like this, but the turret will swap the one player. Not going to really cause any sort of issue at all, but now it's actually going to be trying to push on through, locates one, going for the spray, makes it work, down to 9, and Governor able to get the last, and that's going to be a very close round here for On The Way. but they make it work.
Yeah, I love their executes. I love the confidence they have, excuse me, in their team's ability to move coordinated. Because on the side of Seeker, what looked like what was happening was that they were trying to fall back to try and retake after On The Way gets the plant down. However, maybe the comms weren't right. Not entirely sure what happened. A couple of them did get picked off by CT side. Pure VNS does find 2 headshots, but, you know, kind of lucky in that situation. Now we're finally seeing Seeker with real weapons for the first time this match, and it's a much more slow and measured approach. However, On The Way still 5-sacking that B site.
Yeah, they really just, you know, they only have one plan. I mean, they call them the one-trick pony team, I guess. I mean, they're just going to see how long they can get away with abusing this, and already they've been able to push on through. They're actually and that's 2 big frags already from both Leviathan and Governor. That's a really good start. And Seeker having no opportunity for the trade yet at all. The spike is going to go down. Koala able to find the head of the Jet, so the Jet on duel goes in favor, and now Koala finally gets a little bit of action back. But right now, Seeker, this is a tough position for them to be in. They might just want to save these rifles and try to bring him in, but no, Mazzy, he's going to fall as well. This is just chaos.
This is chaos in its purest form. Seeker, not gonna lie to you, Laz, looking a little outclassed. You know, it's a little early. It's 3-0, I'm presuming. On the way we'll get this round. It's 3-0. However, once again, it's that movement, that coordinated push from the Phoenix to wrap around on the right side of that staircase and just shut off that Omen's exit. So good. And when you start a round that hard with that much of an advantage, 1, it's momentum both in the game, but 2, mentally, right? Like, Seeker just came off of a hot game. They just had the momentum behind them, and here they are getting mauled by On The Way with this brick wall of offense they've put up.
Yeah, and I mean, even now we're just seeing On The Way once again, they're going for a full commitment, but they're going to actually switch up their plan. And we were talking about a lot of these players, and like, you know, there's such a big roster, and I should have even mentioned Koala. And when Koala gets popping, it's definitely a scary scene to be in, and that's an angry Koala. But even right now, I mean, Governor actually going to be starting things off, and Seeker, they are going to be able to close on the retake situation, but they don't really have any control of all of this, so they're completely pushed back. But Pure, he actually does find the head of Koala, so that's already a good start for them.
Yeah, this guy with the Sheriff, man, it is ridiculous how accurate he is. Kills do go back and forth. However, this is ultimately a save round for Seeker. They're just trying to get a couple of frags to try and get back on the board at this point. Cole will get spotted out, does get his head removed by a Sheriff, and that is a fourth round for On The Way here. So, Laz, moving into this 5th round now, right? We've got weapons once again. What does Seeker have to do differently to try and even put a dent into the offense here?
I think that, you know, the one thing I'd want to see from them is just some counter aggression. So, I mean, trying to fight for some map control. I mean, we saw it a little bit before yesterday on the earlier streams where, you know, teams were pushing through middle and really pushing on mid link. But I think we haven't seen that from Seeker. So we want to see if they're going to get a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more aggro, and try to really push back all this aggression. We see that Jet is actually going to be posting up the off, but needs to find somebody. And that lockdown actually going to be used now from the attacking side, which is from On The Way. And now look at this again. They're able to push into the site, but it's not even Koala able to find through, looking for a little bit more. It's just an absolute massacre. And that Koala is definitely not a noob at this point. And finally, a little bit of retaliation back here from Pure.
Yeah, bro, as Jet on that op, you gotta hit those 5 people coming through B. But as you mentioned, Koala Noob following up on that Killjoy ult, dancing in the smokes and finding frags. He is just clowning on Seekers right now. And oh my god, the Shark Dart into market, gonna pick up Maisie. And yeah, at this point, Seeker really have to cut their losses. They've got a lot of money invested in that op. And if they don't have weapons going into the next round, they are gonna be in a bad spot. And Koala finds the 3rd kill onto the op. Pure, oh my god, back-to-back headshot, but he will get wrecked by Leviathan in the end. 5-0 in favor of On The Way, Laz. This is ridiculous, dude.
On the way they go. I mean, they're making things look pretty interesting, a little bit spicy if you want to think of that. I mean, they're 5-0. There hasn't really been that many close rounds. I mean, I think before we saw the closest, you know, was around the pistol round. And even now we can see that Seeker, they don't really have a lot of fun. So this is where they should just try something risky. They should try something a little bit different, see if they can go for a stack, see if they can catch On The Way off guard and just, you know, play the crossfires. But even right now, they're just doing a 3-2 stack. They're not really doing anything too crazy. I mean, they have 3 players at B, but we're gonna have to see. They have the Bladestorm activated, but look at this Jet. He's the one player that needs to make a play, and he already falls.
Oh, bro, that's ridiculous. And I think you made a perfect point, bro. Like, if the enemy team is consistently 5-stacking against you, at what point are you like, okay, we're gonna also have to 5-stack the site, because they're not gonna change it until we stop them. Now Governor pushing onto the back of site. Seeker only dropped down to 1 player remaining, and that is Mozzie on the Reyna in CT, all by himself, trying for his best, as On the Way closes in on his position and makes it a quick 6-0 so far.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is kind of what we were talking about, the pre-game analysis, and, you know, I feel like I might not have sold On the Way. I mean, I've definitely seen them around. They've been participating in a lot of big tournaments, and this is kind of why. I mean, look at this. They're up 6-0. They just seem to be, you know, that bulldozer, and they're just running through whatever site they pick. I mean, they're like, yeah, B, no problem. Easy. A, no problem. Easy. And I mean, right now, Seeker, they have 3 ultimates available, so it'd be good to see the Empress being used from their Reyna, potentially on the side of Mazzy. I mean, they could try to use the lockdown to really just counteract that, you know, spike plant. They need to try something desperately now, and this is the moment. I mean, they're down 6-0 right now, Jim.
This is the moment, and just as we say it, Killjoy pops her ultimate, and we're seeing something that we've seen time and time again, that Phoenix following up on that rush, trying to clear the site, but actually Seeker doing a really good job of holding their ground, finally putting up some aggression to match On the Ways. Governor having a little bit of a harder time now trying to make his way to market, and some great utility usage comes out into B main as kills are found on the side of Seeker, who are quickly in the advantage here, and finding that 4th one. All they need to do is find one last kill on Leviathan, who's got the Odin in B main.
Actually didn't get pushed back, so he doesn't even have the spike in his possession at all, but he still has 50 seconds, so he subs just under a minute left for plenty of options for him to go. So you can see he might just try to, you know, be a little bit cheeky, go all the way around, go for a big flank, because right now, I mean, the world is his oyster. He might as well try something. The spike's not in his possession, so at this point, he's just going to try to, you know, do something a little bit ballsy, I guess, and we'll have to see. But this is the best round we've seen from Seeker. They actually just take down that execute from B, and Leviathan just kind of trolling a little bit with the orb. I mean, he's got full max, but he's not even going to, you know, burn his ult at all. He's just going to preserve it.
Yeah, he's really got nothing to lose. Even if he did go berserk and try to get a couple kills with that Odin, he's got $8,500 in his back pocket, right? He's invested into Bitcoin. He's chilling. He really doesn't need anything. And so, really good round. We talked about it for quite some time, what Seeker needed to do to really put a stop to the aggression here. However, came at the cost of a Killjoy ultimate, right? Going to the next round, you've got the Sova ultimate. Kind of does the same thing, especially in B main where they have to come through that primary hallway. However, you can very easily dodge a Sova ultimate. It's not as much objective pressure per se, right? It's not taking up as much map space. So now Seeker, once again, what will they do? It looks like On the Way is doing what they do best.
Yeah, going back for the 5-man stack. I mean, why not? I mean, they've done it, you know, 6 times. It doesn't work the one. So, I mean, it's like a 5 out of 6 chance that's going to work. So, I mean, they're probably going to test their luck one more time. And I mean,
it looks like Seeker too even 3-sacked A this time in sort of hopes of a retaliation, thinking that On the Way would go A.
And that's the thing. I mean, it's all about the reads, and especially on that defensive side, like you're trying to figure out what is the best plan to go. And I mean, for them, they're on a bit of a guessing game, and even On the Way, they're going to be getting those Nikes on. They're already pushed into the site. Look at this Governor. He has so much control already. He's going to be spotted by the recon dart, but it doesn't matter. He's actually still close on by. He might be able to catch these players off guard. Leviathan goes for the spam, but it's going to be Cole and Mazzy to come alive with 2 more, and now leaving it on a 2v4 situation. 2 players remaining, Koala Noob and the Omen. 2 strong powerhouses left remaining, and they can make anything work. They have the spike still, Jim.
Yeah, this is kind of dicey, right? You got to give props to Cole up for maintaining his position in the back of B. He did not make a noise, and he found the kill onto Governor. Koala looking for the kill onto Cat. Check your corners, boys! This is dicey. The trigger discipline coming out. He's behind both of them, and they line up for Koala Noob. The advantage that Seeker had in that moment just completely nixed On the Way. In total control here, 2v1 as Cole up now pushes through glass. He's checking his corners once again, and they've double boosted onto Generator. What is this, bro? Oh my god, okay, so this Killjoy's gonna peek heaven momentarily, finds one, and looks for the second, almost gets him, but Koala gets the 4th, and will be finding that 7th round for On the Way.
I think he might have just heard the sound cue from Koala Noob, because a little bit, you know, interesting of a peek, because he was definitely anticipating another player to be on top right on the generator, which I definitely know most players 99% of the time would never check that.
Yeah.
For two players just kind of having, you know, a little tea party hanging out. But either way,
ridiculous.
I mean, like you said, I mean, that was a huge play, and this is kind of what I was talking about with this squad on the way. That trigger discipline, the fact that you didn't just go for that immediate frag, especially in the catwalk, just paid dividends. And I mean, now they got 2 easy frags, and then they were able to pick the round as well, and that was an advantage situation for Seeker.
And here we go, 8 rounds in, ladies and gentlemen. We're seeing the first different thing this game, as On the Way comes out with an A push. However, ults are coming out from the side of Seeker, able to stop them quite a bit with that Sova ultimate and even find a kill, and it's quickly made 4-on-2. Seeker in the lead. They've got the high ground. However, Leviathan with the Odin from A main is able to find one, but quickly nixed on that one too. That Sova ultimate we were talking about is another piece of utility that Seeker has to really gain a lot of map control and deny space. So I mean, 2 rounds we've seen, one from Seeker comes off the back of 2 giant utility ults and Killjoy ults and Sova ultimate. Laz, isn't it kind of weird? I mean, not isn't it kind of weird, but do you think that Seeker should be going more on flanks if they know On the Way is going for these rushes so often?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing about, you know, when they play aggressive, they can easily get that intel. They can know right away. If they push mid, then they have pretty much a good chance of reading that, yes, they're committing B or yes, they're committing A, and it makes it a little bit easier for them to go for some flanks, go for some better retake situations. But the way that they're playing is just kind of the standard setup, waiting for the aggression to actually push onto them. So far, it's working really well this round. We already see that the Jet actually does open things up with the Operator, and now they're going to just go for the same plan once more, but Nat's actually going to be able to take him down. The nice little spam through just on the corner of the wall does find him, and Mazzy now trying to find a little bit more, but Governor running on through, and Koala wins the duel here from On the Way. This is just falling apart once more for Seeker. They need to seek some frags, and they're finally able to pick up one. Now it's a 3-on-2.
Yeah, 3-on-2 now. Like you mentioned, they had a good start. However, a bad series of 1-on-1s. As Cole pops down that ultimate ability, Koala is able to nix him and take out that ult as well. Witness now, the last man remaining in A main. Waits for the Killjoy ult to pop, pushes it, and gets quickly eliminated by Koala on that op. Yeah, man. And I think you hit the nail on the head. They had a really good strat there, just playing default because Seeker played default while On the Way finally split. They went mid and they went A, and that worked out early for Seeker. However, yeah, we saw how that panned out. A series of unfortunate 1v1s, quickly leading to their demise. 10 rounds in, On the Way only need 2 more to close out this half. Laz, we're on an eco. What are your thoughts for the next 2 here?
Turret out.
You know, I feel like a broken record, but I definitely want to just see, you know, Seeker trying something a little bit different. I mean, I'm not sure if they're just, you know, staying true to their ways and they don't, you know, just trying to play it a little bit more safe. But I think at this point, especially in these pistols, they can try something a little bit different and just see what they can, you know, take down more weapons. They might not be able to pick up the round by any means, but they might be able to make something work.
Yeah.
And already now, look at this. Leviathan's just spamming away, and he's just closing the doors down, and he's able to pick up 4.
And the best part about that was that Leviathan is 1v4ing them here with his boy, the Governor, on his back, but the bomb itself was on B the whole time. They faked it, and they had B completely free, but they didn't need it even, because Leviathan had everything concealed in those $3,200, man. That worked out too well for On the Way here.
No, it really is. And I mean, On the Way now, 9-2, big lead. And we can already see they do have the ultimate, the Huntress Fury available for Leviathan. So we talk about the, you know, Huntress Fury on attacking side. You can definitely use it to open up a site. You know, we typically see it a lot in, you know, clutch situations. But I mean, right now, there's a lot of reasons they could try to use it to open up the site, but even now, they're actually changing up their plan. They're doing a 4-1 split, so Governor actually going to be splitting things up, making a bit of noise, and Huntress Fury will be activated from Leviathan, trying to see if he can make him connect, and he will be able to. Takes down Cole. That's a really good frag, because now all that utility available from Seeker, it's gone.
Absolutely. And we had mentioned, right, why isn't Seeker trying to go for those flanks? So we saw Jet from the side of Seeker trying to play a little of aggressive in a main to try and get some information, quickly darted down by Governor, who is then quickly traded once again. And now with the favor on the side of On the Way, they've got Heaven control. But as I say that, Witness finds a headshot instead. Recon arrows coming through now. He's trying to line it up. He's got the spot. Both Reyna and Sova from Seeker are in Heaven. They're trying to watch their backs, but it doesn't look like they're going to be going for an execute onto the site. Or does it?
I mean, at this point, I mean, they might as well be going for it. I mean, they have no other point or no reason not to, of course. I mean, even Leviathan, again, that Odin is just a menace. Now he's got 100 more bullets. He's just going to hold mouse one. He's just going to see what he can find. He's spamming away. He's trying his best, and he's going to be able to land it. And that's another round that comes up through. So we should be switching things over now. Switching on to the second half. That's going to be 10-2 On the Way, showing a very dominant performance and starting it off already in the double digits. We're in the first or second half now, and they've already reached double digits.
Yeah, this, I don't know. I don't know what happened, to be honest, man. Seeker was looking real good last map. Maybe overconfidence, but maybe they're playing it too safe. You know, maybe we do need to see them try that 1-3-1 or something, you know, play super passive on a site. If you hear them rushing, push through that mid and get the flank. Maybe. On defense, though, it could be a very different story. Seeker is down, but they are not out of the game just yet. And it looks like on the side of Seeker, they're gonna go for that B rush. Here we go. We're seeing the two isolated sides of the map really play here. We've got two in CT from the side of On the Way as Seeker tries to make their way into Boathouse, but get quickly darted, and the utility through the smoke is gonna give them cover and allow them to wreak havoc from afar for free. Leviathan finding two, almost finds a third one there. Pure getting wrecked on the site, and that's gonna be a quick 11th round for On the Way.
That's a good display. I mean, you know, just some discipline and the fact that we saw On the Way. I mean, they didn't really panic at all. And that's kind of the difference of experienced team versus, you know, less experienced teams. We'll say it. I mean, they seem to react very well. They had the recon bolt and they just seemed to spam away. Even though the smokes were there, they still had full vision. We could see that there was some crispy headshots with that X-ray that you could get with the location of the enemies. And I mean, now they lose that pistol. That was a huge thing they needed. And now, I mean, they are, you know, trying to, you know, just grab what they can in this round. If they can't pull this through, I mean, this puts match point already for On the Way.
Yeah, it was a tough thing to watch too, because you had the Killjoy almost entry fragging on the side of Seeker, and that's not something you want to see, right? I want to see them utilize their flashes, try to use their abilities to create space for themselves. And it looks like Leviathan's already making a name for himself on the LMG here. He's just creating noise, gathering information, and putting pressure. And now the double push from both Leviathan on Jet. This is what we needed to see from Seeker when they were getting five-man push the other sides, and Nats now finding the other two. This is lockdown defense, lads. This looks really hard to play.
This is just kind of showing me like a Pitbull versus a Poodle or something, you know, if they were in a fight. I mean, this is just kind of what, just straight up bullying. I mean, now they're a match point. They have shown no weakness at all. I mean, yeah, they gave up 2 rounds, but those were even very close rounds. And I mean, now On the Way, they're putting themselves at match point. It is a best of 3, of course. So, I mean, it's only going to be map 1. But right now, I mean, Seeker, they're going to need to, you know, pull all the tricks out of the hat. They're going to make some kind of a Make-A-Wish Foundation or something. Just make something different here. I mean, they got 10 rounds to go. This is a long road.
Yeah, they need John Cena or something to come by and help them, because this is not working out too well for them. Okay, 2 seconds left on the clock as it looks like it's going to be a 5-man push from On the Way. Governor could be ill-prepared, or he could be very prepared. Spots out the push, puts the molly down to stop it some more, pops out with the second flash, and does get killed instead. It's a good kill for Seeker, as they are going to be taking a slow and measured approach, but the Jet from On the Way on the flank already in their spawn, and they've got the Omen running up Cat. This is what we needed. 5-man push, there's the flank. They've already got them locked in. Now it's a time of frags. Really, who's going to get the kills here?
This is such a good position. I mean, Koala now, they completely have them pinched. Both himself and his Omen, they have a crossfire. So the Omen's going to be posted up inside a middle, and then Koala has it on just the other side. So really right now, they're completely trapped. They are in a sandwich. This is the On the Way sandwich. And I'm not sure if this is the special that Seeker ordered, but they are going to be able to push on through. Koala and his teammate going to be going for the back flank right now. And they get the site, but now they need to get this spike down immediately. And that actually is a good pickup already. Mazzy does get the spam, and Nats actually gets caught off guard with a little bit of a reload, but both players on the flank, they might not expect this. They need to get this spike planter. Finds the one, not able to get the second. Koala gets taken down, and all of a sudden it's just down to Bank by himself. He's got a Vandal, but he's only got a few bullets to go.
What a jiggle peek from Bancroft there. Yeah, he's the second player on the flank. Finds the second one of co-op, jumping on Dice. And oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. Bancroft with a flank into a 3K to clutch out the round and clutch out the first game. Laz, boy, when we talk about countering a rush, that's what we're talking about.
Can't stop here.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm just a little bit speechless. I mean, we just saw like a class act from L on the way. I mean, you know, domination, I guess, is one word we can call it. But I mean, amazing performance that we saw from them. They just had full control of that game. You can just tell the aim was crisp. Everybody was just feeling really good that game.
It was wild, yeah. And you mentioned it multiple times too, right? Like when you're a team that hasn't been together for too long, or say you haven't been scrimming together, basically what we're saying is it looks like On the Way is a very composed team. And when you're up against a team of that caliber and that confidence where they see a rush and they immediately Sovadar and step into the smokes to counter you, you have to take a second to think, okay, if we're going to rush, we're going to have to measure this out. We can't do what they did against us because our responses weren't the same when they did. And man, that last round, oh my God. We were hoping for that all game long from Seeker and we got it from On the Way. What a flank, what a play.
Yeah, and honestly,
Dude.
we're talking about, I mean, 13-2 for Ascent, and we're talking about map number 2. And I mean, the one thing to note about On the Way as well is, I mean, they beat NRG on this map. So, I mean, we're talking about a tier 1 team that they, you know, took down on a map like this. I think it was around like 13-6 or 13-7 or something like that, but a really good score line. So, I mean, for Seeker, I mean, these guys are going to need to go in the locker room and like have a big motivational speech or something, because this is a big order. This is the biggest order you can have in your life.
Now. This is a Tony Robbins sized task. Like we need that level of energy for Seeker. And if you've got it in chat, if these are your boys that you're supporting, show them your support. You know, let them know you're here, because I see a lot of support for On the Way as well, and it is exciting to see for sure. And you know, the next map is going to be Icebox. Icebox generally a little more dually, I want to say. Laz, what are your opinions on Icebox?
Yeah, I definitely think, you know, the Icebox has a lot of things that we can definitely talk about. But you know what? Before we get into the fine details, we'll just take a very quick commercial break, let the players get ready. We'll get a little bit of liquid and hydration as well, and we'll be back very shortly. Just
It was a joke, folks. Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, here on the PlayerzZone Invitational, of course, with your hosts, Laz and Jim. We are back from map number 2, Icebox. We watched a bit of a mow down here on Ascent, which went on favor of On the Way. And now we're here on Icebox. I mean, Jim, what are your first thoughts?
Ooh-wee. Okay, so if Ascent is a team-oriented map, right? It rewards team play if you're moving together. If you're able to execute on sites quick, that's what's rewarded on Ascent. For Icebox, I feel like there's a lot of open angles, so if you're able to duel, you're going to find success. For a team like Seeker, I feel like that's a map they need because they did not look as coordinated as On the Way did, and that's for sure. Laz, going into this map, do you think Seeker's going to have a bit more success than they did on Ascent here, and why?
Well, if I'm going to be honest, and like I said a little bit before, we took the quick break. I mean, this is a team that showed us their dominant performance, and I talked about the firepower being one of my favorite teams in this tournament. And I mean, the fact that they took down a tier 1 team on this map as well, that definitely says a lot of things. Considering Seeker, I mean, I think a little bit less experience, so definitely the experience side of things on the way is definitely a big, strong force to reckon with. Definitely.
And coming into the Agent Select screen, once again, we're pretty much seeing the same composition on both sides. Last time we had Governor instead going for Phoenix, and now opting for Sage. And you know what that means. We're going to see some funky Sage walls, Laz. It's going to be good. Witness also opting for that Sage. She's really good for that mid control into tube. But if you have labbed those Sage walls, they can be a menace. And like we mentioned, this is a dually map, lots of open angles. It's going to be tough to break through. But honestly, I want to say that Seeker still have a chance, Les. I believe.
Hey, the Cinderella story, I mean, we saw yesterday, I mean, TLP, they came back from the reverse sweep. I mean, things can definitely happen, and can't, give out anything yet. I mean, On the Way, we talk about, being, I would consider probably the favorites in the tournament, but you know what? Cinderella stories, dark horse stories, I love them. I welcome them. I love to see Seeker, cause the upset, and definitely possible. We'll have to see if that short break, was kind of the thing they needed to, cool off from all that heat.
Absolutely. And on the side of the attack here, Seeker looked like they're going to be opting for a B push with that Reyna, trying to get some action under tube. Jet maybe collect some information out on A, and the push is slow. Already On the Way on the defense is much more mobile. The rotate has come out from the A side onto B. They've set up their Sova instead in mid, and now that Jet on the offense has been spotted on A, they've set back to a 2-1-2, which works out for Seeker here.
Very slow round here from Seeker, so they're just kind of creeping through B long, so they're not really trying to push too much investment yet, but they're going to be close on by. They're going to go for the big swing. Bancroft going to be the one player who has the high ground, but he actually does make the connection. He actually lands a significant amount of damage against the Sage, and I think the heal was now used, so that cooldown's going to be depleted here for Seeker. They're going to use the ice wall, but look at this. They're not even able to make this work. Bancroft is completely toying with them, and they finally pick up 2 frags, looking for a little bit more, and Governor finally makes something work. And now all of a sudden, just down to Leviathan on the 1v4 situation, Ghost in hand, trigger discipline once more, 1, and it's going to be 2, and that's going to be very clean and very beautiful now. Jim, a 1-on-2, can he make this work?
Say it ain't so. I will not go. Are we going to see this again, man? It looked like Seeker had caught that mid-rotate out, but Leviathan through the tube, out-rotates the rotate. Oh, finds 1 kill onto the crate, and isn't expecting the second one to also be stacked up there. What a round. Back and forth is one way to put it. Seeker finding the first round on this map.
I mean, that's a big win. I mean, Seeker, the fact that, they were just, they did a lot of damage against them, and now it works out well for them. They pick up a round, only 1 round away from, a little bit closer to what they had on map number 1. And I mean, this, like you said, Icebox is definitely that map. I mean, this is the map where they could upset. But like I said, statistically, this is On the Way. Like, this is a map I think they're very strong at. So we'll have to see, if Seeker, have something up the sleeve. Maybe they got, a trick or two.
Yeah, and you got to give it to Bancroft that last round, right? Like you mentioned, he was just on top of the site playing Ring Around the Rosie with the rest of On the Way, with the rest of Seeker, rather, and really delaying for so much time. And now Bancroft in another grimy position, boosted on top of the back boxes. Gonna catch off Witness. He doesn't even peek at that angle. Repositions himself now. Bancroft going for the smoke. Hops back out, finds the spike, and just drops down and finds another kill. Koala pushes up with him too, and quickly turned into a 2-on-1. Seeker, this round is not going to go well for them.
Down to only one, and Leviathan gonna take the head of him. Finds him with the Marshall, and they respawn back in great fashion. And back to a 1-on-1 we go, and now this is gonna, you know, kind of affect the money situation here for Seeker. We'll see that up here very quickly. I mean, their funds, you know, they're in the 2000s, so really nothing that they can put a big investment in. You're just gonna have a couple of the pistols. Might try to get a little bit creative with the sheriffs.
Yeah.
I mean, and right now with a sheriff, I mean, it is a very strong pistol to have, of course, but I'm curious what the plan will be. But it looks like right now they're completely split up, a little bit more grouped up in mid. I'm wondering if they want to just go for maybe a mid split into A, have their jet kind of lurk towards A main. Definitely lots of possibilities at this point, but look at Koala. He's already got so much control.
So much control, so much information. He knows the A push is not coming out anytime soon, and they've got the aggressive Omen push. So they know, okay, we've doubled up on mid. We've got that wall down. We have map control. We've established it. And just like that, they've lost it as Governor gets his head blown off by the deal from Witness. However, the push is not out just yet. They're playing it slow, trying to gather some more information before they go on another one.
They're completely stuck in the back. I mean, look at this. I mean, they're stuck on the ice rink, and I mean, they're just hanging out, doing little circles, doing some laps, and I mean, now they're trying to figure out what is the best plan of attack. They win the opening duel, so they take down the Sage, so they don't have to worry about like the wall, they don't have to worry about the slow orb, things like that. But even Bancroft's going to be the only player at B by himself. So we saw this before where he's on the box with the high ground. This paranoia could be huge, and he's able to, but the roll just comes in the amount of time, and he actually does pick up that frag before the nanoswarm nade gets him. He falls back. It doesn't actually make the connection, so this is a good start for them already. But Pure and both Nazi, look at this. This is just sheriffs in town. They're able to take the heads of all these players from on the way.
Oh, almost finds out another one. 3v2 in favor of Seeker. Now, once again, on the way, both of them located on site. Finds one with that Spectre, and now 1-on-2. Bancroft, 4 health. He's playing around the remnants of the Sage Wall. Goes for the shots onto it. Prevents the spike being planted, and all he needs to do is play for 5 more seconds, 3 more seconds, and in the last possible second, he gets shot by Mazi and is gonna go down. But once again, what a back and forth round, even though Seeker started that off in a 5v4.
They're definitely getting close, but now Seeker, they've been able to pull the lead. Now they will have guns on the board for themselves, and a bit of a, you know, dicey buy that we're seeing here from on the way. So this is that moment. I mean, on the way, we see them be pretty creative. They get a lot of control early on. We saw Koala actually pushing all the way through A main, and I'm going to wonder if he's going to try to go for that again, which just pinches them in the back and middle. And look at this, 2 players as well. Looks like they might actually push towards long B and set up completely in the open. Look at Bancroft. He actually does get spotted. He was trying to be a little bit cheeky and get a good spot, but he does get noticed.
Oh, Cole, really good kill there onto Stan. Governor finding another one, but does get traded back. 4v3 in favor of the offense here, and they're playing it slow. They're just fielding the catches here, right? They expected an aggressive push from all sides of the map, stopped it, and now with the numbers advantage are going to play their own game. And this is like a concept that, you know, applies to all your ranked games too. You want to be doing something to the enemy team, usually before they can be doing things to you. And if they are doing things to you, meaning if they're pushing constantly, if they're taking map control, fight them for it. Because if they keep doing things to you, they get that free info, and they're going to continue playing their own game. Seeker finally stepping up, finding those kills. 4-man slow push coming out onto A here.
A lot of hesitation too. They're checking every single corner. They're checking every little, you know, peak that they can find. And this is a good start. And even Leviathan, he uses the Hunter's Fury and takes down the spike planter. Still lots of time for them to make it work, but this is a good way for them to delay things even longer now. For the players on Seeker, I mean, they get the spike back in the possession here for Pure, but he's going to be spotted with the recon bolt. Goes for a little bit of a fake plan, not going to commit to this. Cole does, though, take down Leviathan, and now 2 players going to be remaining, and that's going to be that. And they do respond with all that pressure. Doesn't phase them at all, and now we got ourselves a 3-1 lead for Seeker.
Here we go, man. I really liked what we saw there. Loved the patience from the side of Seeker, clearing every angle, as you mentioned, as they headed onto A, because one too many times have they not checked an angle and gotten punished for it. And even then, too, we saw Koala try to go for that flank as soon as that mass push was coming out onto A. However, Cole and the rest of the Seeker team, able to find kills through measured play, forced Koala to come back to join his team and caught him on the rotate back to join his team. So really, really well done. And I'm excited to see more of that from Seeker moving forward. 3-1, as you mentioned, in their favor. And we've got a pause coming out from both the teams here.
Yeah, and this pause can be used for, a variety of good reasons too. I mean, this kind of, could be a disadvantage for Seeker, and also could be a good opportunity for On the Way to really just kind of figure out the little things that are not working out well right now. I mean, it is early on in the game, but we're definitely seeing Seeker, definitely getting a little bit more revived, and definitely some pulse in this team, and the vitals are looking too good right now. But this is a good moment. Like I said, this is an opportunity for them to kind of figure things out, but the pause is already going to be undone, and now Seeker, they're actually going to be pushing once again into B, being close on by, and both players from the defensive side, they're actually going to push on back. Lockdown going to be used from the attacking side. So that radius is really going to push these guys back, and they're not even committing yet close enough, so they're going to have to get away from this so they don't get detained.
This is interesting. It looks like On the Way, will be detaining some players.
Oh, two of them are.
Try and get a bait. Yeah, try and get them out. The Killjoy ult really just taking up a little bit of space as they're able to get the plant, and they do head back out into the lanes. And no kills have been trading, so this is going to be dicey. It's going to be a match against the clock ticking. Governor going for the wall on the spike and is going to try to stick the defuse and try to get it to half, and he's placed it vertically, so they have to shoot through multiple blocks of Sage Wall, and it looks like they're not even going to be able to do that as he just walks on and defuses the spike.
Nice, a little bit back and forth we go. I mean, like a lot of action. I mean, and just like that, it's all over. I mean, now it works. But now Seeker, 4 ultimates that they have available. I mean, lots of options that they can use, especially on that attacking side. I mean, really, they could use the Empress, have Mazzy try to get an entry. They could have their Jet. I mean, there's just so many different things. And with having the Sage as well, you can have the res. So, I mean, you can try to go for that big play and see if you can make something work, and if not, you get revived. You come right back for another chance at it.
You'll be right back for another chance at it. Leviathan failing on the ropes. I've also done that many a time. Difference is I'm not immortal, so Leviathan, I don't know what your excuse is. Ooh, gonna be picked off there. Gets punished for that aggressive early play. The side of On the Way, they're dropping back to a 2-2, leaving mid open for Mozzie as he's already pushed up by their ramp side, and Stan has no idea of it.
They're even actually going to fall back. So they burn off the B hit. And you can already see, I believe the Omen, they are already using the dark cover, trying to just push them back a little bit. Now they're going to regroup, go for the A exec, getting closer and closer. But Koala and his teammate are going to be the ones that are close on by. And we talked about how, impactful Koala can be. And this is a big test for him to see if he can just slow things down. He spots the shoulder, makes the connection, takes down Witness. So the res is now not available here, but it will not matter because they're just getting completely swarmed here by Seeker. They're just seeking all the frags, and they're able to pick up another round, making it 4-2.
That was huge. I loved Koala's positioning there. However, he was outpositioned by Mozzie and the side of Seeker. We saw them rotate through from B into CT all the way to A because they had Mozzie on the to catch the defending team's rotate, and that he did. As soon as they're putting a presence down onto A, the rotates come out, Mozzie pops out, finds 2. So well done, and this is looking like an entirely different team than we saw on Ascent, man. Like, is that just me?
No, I mean, I definitely would agree with you. And I mean, it looks like, they just seem to like revive themselves and looking a little bit more alive and really just getting a bit more confident in his exchanges and all the duels. And On the Way, I mean, we're kind of seeing them looking a little bit more passive than what we saw before. I mean, before they were just holding mouse 1, they were just holding W, there was no fear, and now they're a little bit more hesitant on everything they're doing.
They definitely are, and we're seeing that in their play as well. No flanks coming out. It's a 5-man setup here. Mozzie finding one onto Rafters, looking at mid, is trying to line up the pixel, but he can't seem to do it. But little does he know, Koala is under the balcony with the classic. Finds another kill as Pure finds a headshot onto Governor. it's looking like a good round so far for Seeker. Now onto Pipes. Koala has to make a play soon. 8 bullets left in his mag with the Killjoy ultimate going down from the side of On the Way to try and clear some space. Maybe get the defuse. Pops out of Pipes. Finds one. Koala finds the return. And now the last 2 are on Belt. Oh, Koala is able to find one. And the defuse comes out from Bancroft, who's able to just stick onto it while his teammate provides enough covering fire. Really well done, and that's the second time we've seen that happen, where the defuse comes out while someone's still alive on the side of Seeker.
Yeah, the big thing, you know, that we have to highlight about that, I mean, that was Nats, I mean, using the lockdown and having that discipline to use it in the retake situation, that worked out phenomenally. I mean, Koala was putting that pressure on. He was the only one, I believe, that had a rifle, so he was still, you know, just playing very aggressive, really pushing those players back even more than they should be from the lockdown. So the fact that they kind of coordinated that together and Koala just landing the shots that he needed to, I mean, that's just the cherry on top.
The cherry on top. And now a push looks like it's going to be another slow one. Excuse me. It's a default here as Mozzie does push up towards Tube as it's not walled out. Governor finding a kill onto the spike. Mozzie's going to pick that up and back on out of Tube. He does not want to drop that by his lonesome. The defense now, they've just got to play the waiting game, and the wait they will as the Sova drone from the side of the defense works its way up mid to try and get some more information. Doesn't see much in Tube. And it looks like a 3-man push from the side of Seeker heading B.
Koala in such a strong position, but he's not able to make work of it. The gift, it's going to go away, but Bancroft able to find 3. He just completely decimates every single player from Seekers, not able to get those trades at all. And now Jet by himself, a 1-on-4 situation and a strong 4 to go against, and this is pretty much survival mode. Just needs to keep this off for that next round. Does take down Governor, so the res not going to be available here for On the Way, but there's no reason for them to play aggressive. So right now they can just kind of post-plan, or sorry, not post-plan, they can just play more passive and completely set up if they want.
Definitely On the Way, kind of just harassing Seeker at this point. You know, it was a good round overall, but Jet instead is going to find that kill, and she finds a second one onto that Omen, and now quickly there's a possibility of this round being lost, but as I say that, Leviathan runs very fast, very far, because he does not want to be anywhere near that op any longer than he has to be.
And this is kind of the danger, you know, when you play over aggressive on the defending side and you know the spike's down, there's only one player, things like that. I mean, they came in right down to the 1-on-1 situation, but, you know, Leviathan, you know, he was far away enough that he knew this player shouldn't be able to find him. There's no reason for Seeker to try to hunt that. I mean, he knew there's no way that he had the distance to get there close enough. But now we have ourselves back to a tie game, and it will be op on op here. Both Jets going to be having that in their hands. We'll have to see where they're going to put these ops, and it looks like Koala going to be actually making his way, trekking the way, paving the path towards B, whereas right now, I mean, the op on the attacking side, we might try to see that going towards A and seeing if they can find that opening on the top part of the A site.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how these 2 different Jets utilize their ops. Koala, we've seen be very aggressive with that op, and it looks like Jet on the side of Seeker is kind of playing a more passive role in Belt, trying to clear some angles and needs to clear that right side where the Sova is tucked in. However, instead opts for a slow push. Lots of presence on A. A full rotate has not come out from the side of On the Way. They've only got 3 people on A. They don't want to overcommit just yet. Making some moves towards mid now, and it looks like the push is about to come out from Seeker.
Seeker really just investing into this, so they're not going to let go of the gas. They're going to get that wall, which blocks it off, so the spike does get planted, so they have the opportunity to have the post-plant situation in the back of the main area, so now they can position themselves. Bancroft trying to get through the top, but he's actually going to get caught because there's a smoke there. Governor going to be bringing him back for another opportunity here. 4-on-5 situation. Governor will finally go down. The Sova on Sova duel going to go in favor for the attackers, and this post-plant is so great here from the attacking side of Seeker, and now Leviathan, he's going to have to find 5, but he's able to only find 3. Or making it 2, making with the triple, but now it will be the lead back in possession here for Seeker.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy, and honestly, something clicked as you were talking. Watching these players play, right? What we're seeing a lot of the time, Seeker tries to just get info, play slow, and then play these like little peak fights, because it seems like to me as a complete outsider, right? I don't know how any of their team chemistry works. Don't know any of their strats. Don't know really much about these teams at all. However, on the way seem to have way more set strats and executes, whereas overall Seeker in these positions where you're hunting for frags and kind of playing on your natural senses, they seem to be pulling it out more often than not. And now Seeker going for the same play once again, a slow but steady and high pressure push on this A site as they make on the way question if it's going to be a split or not.
Ball actually missing a couple shots, so I mean that, you know, kind of avoids that opportunity to like slow down this aggression. So now they're gonna have to just play the retake setup. So Seeker, they're able to get into the site. They actually do take down Koala, so the AWP is gonna be dropped now from the defensive side. Hunter's Fury now gonna be activated, makes the connection on a Witness, actually gonna find it as well. So that's a very good pickup already, but it's already just collapsing here from on the way because it's only 2 players left on a 2v4 situation. Leviathan picking up the AWP, he makes a little bit of work of it now. Nat's gonna need to help his teammate out, but he's gonna get caught in the backlines of Sheer. He finds him underneath, and Leviathan, he's just down to the red. He's already completely exposed. They know exactly where he is. They're just gonna go for the full hunt and take him down, and that is another round for Seekers.
Wow, momentum. First parts of this map, we were seeing on the way go for flanks, trying for a lot more adventurous strategies and hoping that they work because we saw a lot more confidence in just the way they were stepping around the map. Seekers now look to have put a real dent in that confidence because just the way they're playing, just how long on the way is waiting before they start counteracting these pushes is kind of concerning me. And as we're heading on now into a save round for the side of on the way and a buy round for Seekers, Laz, do you think on the way can really bring it back in this first half?
I still think it's really close. I mean, there is still 2 more rounds that we can go in this first half. I mean, we can get a 6-6 from on the way. We saw how, you know, efficient their attacking side can be. So I really do think, you know, it's really anybody's game at this moment. But we'll have to see something a little bit different from on the way. You know, it doesn't seem like, you know, they're being crisp as they were at map number 1. I'm not sure, you know, something's kind of shaking them a little bit. But, you know, talking about shaking things up, I mean, Koala, he's going to bring those knives and he's going to be able to take down one, but he will get traded immediately. Now, Bankrupt going to be spotted immediately. Going to be able to TP out of this, but will get caught in the mid TP. So, doesn't work out well at all. Governor close on by, ready with the wall to just block things off. And that's going to be the lockdown now used from the Killjoy on the side of Seeker.
Yeah, that's that set play we were talking about, right? Koala with the jet knives, trying to go in for some high stakes action. And the Omen was ready with that blind, that paranoia to follow up. However, the side of Seeker, they just had more people that put their smokes down, and they just started pre-firing through the smokes. And Jet and Mozzie finding 2 huge kills onto that B site, quickly flipping the tides here. Seekers in a 3v1. This looks like a good round for them.
Definitely a little sneaky beaky. I mean, right now it's a 1-on-2 situation. This is definitely, you know, Leviathan could have found that frag against Jet. I mean, he was definitely low, the 15 HP. If he can pick that up, I mean, that would have been a 1-on-1 situation. But when we're talking about 1-on-1, now this is the last round of the first half. So 7-4 already. All the money is spent, all the money depleted here from both sides. Money is just flowing here for Seeker. I mean, they've just been laughing this entire time. And if they can make this an 8-4, definitely a really good start, especially the transition onto that defense. But I'm curious to see, are we going to see something a little bit different from on the way? Do they put some aggression in middle? Do they try something a little bit more at A? Or do they just go back to what they know, the default retake situation?
Let's see what they end up doing, and it looks like it's going to be a slow stacked push towards A. Once again, Mozzie trying to take that mid position, and Stan realizes he, you know, Mozzie does like doing that push, but he looks away just as Mozzie crosses through that smoke, and right under their noses, Mozzie is lurking, looking for that first kill, finds one, tries to find the second, but he doesn't, and Stan is able to turn around in time and find the headshot. That could have been the round for them, but instead, a 4v4 as Stan contemplates putting down his Killjoy ultimate, but instead opts to break one of the stage blocks and try to go for the retake as he gets picked off by Cole. If he had stayed alive with that ult, it would have been huge. On the way, though, on the way to success in this round, as they've got a 1-man lead, looking to make that into a 2-man lead, and quickly it's a 3-man lead as the round is over and the defuse does come out for on the way.
And this is kind of what we were saying, you know, I was mentioning a little bit before. I mean, that retake setup that we've seen from On the Way, and that's kind of what we saw before map number 1. It works out pretty much, you know, almost flawlessly. I mean, they lost their 2 players initially, but nobody else on the retake situation was kind of taken down. Switching things over to the second half now, we see Seeker has been able to take a 2-round lead. And a lot of pressure here going to be built up on this pistol to see if this can go in the favor of On the Way. I mean, there's a good chance that we can have ourselves an early tie game. But I mean, the first 2 rounds, in my opinion, are always the most stressful because I mean, really, it's anybody's game at any moment.
Definitely, man. Those first 2 rounds, like, you know, even in comp games when I'm playing with people and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's 7-5. We got this in the bag." It's like, no, man. Those first 2 rounds, pistol and the one falling subsequently after, anything can happen on either of those rounds, buy or no buy. And we've all been familiar with that situation more than enough. So now coming into this, On the Way is on the attack, 5-7 for On the Way. They're down by 2 rounds, and it looks like they're trying to go for a stacked A push with their Omen watching the flank on B.
And this is where we saw On the Way. I mean, this is where you know, their confidence starts to get pretty big. I mean, their attacking side is definitely their strongest side because, you know, they have a lot of firepower on this squad. And I think, you know, with this aggression, this could be a lot of confidence built up for them. Bancroft actually going to get a lot of intel already, investigating very thoroughly, gets all the information he needs, going to throw the dark covers off, blocking things over. Kolob actually going to get caught with the paranoia, so he's going to have to push on back. So they get the site. They should be able to get the plan as well. They have the wall, but the nanoswarm actually will block that off. But no harm, no foul. They make it work, and they should have everything ready to go, able to escape, no problem. And now we have ourselves a 5-on-5, you know, retake situation.
What a macro play there from On the Way. They had Bancroft just far enough to catch the rotate when it happened. And when it did happen, they got the plant. 5v5 now. Shots are coming out onto CT as that the rest of the team from Seekers are pushing there. And they've got 4 people directly on the site. The rest of the team of On the Way playing around yellow, doing their best, jumping in and out of these walls that have been set up. And it's still a 2v2 as they come around the corner. Just firing, and it's a 1v1. Pure looking for the defuse in the smoke, but he's not going to find it as Governor ultimately just fires through where he knows the spike is planted and finds the kill. But whoa, that could have gone either way real quick.
You know, we talked about, you know, Sage being used and having the walls and just the different variety of things that we've seen. And I mean, that, you know, wall position is so strong because you can just get the spike planted on the corner, and really it allows you to have, you know, the post plant situation where you can play behind big or yellow. I mean, it just it's such a hard position to fight against too from that defending side, and we kind of saw why. But I mean, Seeker definitely made it close, very interesting, but it does look like On the Way they do retaliate back, and only 1 round away from tying things back up. And they are going to put the full investment once again. This is what we saw number 1, full commitment, full tilt, and they're going to be pushing on through. And even Koala does take some damage, but the Sage heal does come out big, and now they're just going for a big shooting gallery.
That was really well done, and the rest of the team Seekers is not even in a prime position to try and contest this anymore, so that Reyna really has to slow down and wait for her teammates to catch up on the side of Seeker. You've got the Jet positioned in CT with a Marshall watching yellow. This is quite the rough angle, and that smoke is no bueno. That's pretty much going to be shutting down all their chances at getting a couple kills, unless Mozzie pops through and is their knight in shining armor. I don't see this going the way of On the Way here. Of Seeker, sorry.
This is a tough position for them to be in. I mean, right now they're just trying to see if they can keep these weapons close enough or On the Way that they, you know, they can't, you know, escape too fast. But I mean, the spike is ticking faster and faster as we go. I mean, right now you can see Seeker, they're just trying to see what they can find, and they're just going to fall. They get, you know, the bonus as well for losing. So I mean, really, there's no risk for them at this point. They were just trying to see if they can pick up an extra frag or 2 and just add a little bit to that economy. But it doesn't work out for them. But now we have ourselves back to a tie game, and 2 rounds in a row here for On the Way, and the full gun round will be commenced from Seeker. And this is a lot of pressure because if On the Way can pull this thing through, this is just going to allow them to build that bank and the funds.
Definitely, man. And I think you mentioned it before, right? We've got 7-7. We've got that tied game. However, the biggest difference that I'm seeing is Seeker is nowhere near as quick on the rotates to counteract the offense as On the Way was, and that is just paying dividends right now. On the Way just toying with them around the map, trying to pop in for quick plants, get out, you know, rotates around the map, and it's working for them so well. 7-7 tied around as the push comes out onto B side. Pure goes for the paranoia and teleports away into a smoke, into relative safety, and backs off the site. Doesn't want to take the fight until his teammates are there, and Koala, really good job getting out of a sticky situation. Cole now trying his best to put some defense and some pressure onto the site, and it works. The spike is stopped planting for now, and the fights are coming out left and right. No trades just yet.
I mean, there's no reason for them to go for this full push, and this is exactly why. Look at the Seeker. They're completely grouped up in this site, and they just pull the element of surprise. And I don't think on the way we're expecting so many players to be that close already, and they get taken down immediately. So on the way, they aren't able to respond to that round. I mean, it was a bonus round for them, so they get another crack at this. They have the full rifle round. They have no ops, of course, too early on. But now they can really test the water, see what they can make work of. And I mean, we saw Seeker. They've been holding this site down very well. And at this point, we're seeing on the way, they should be going for an A take. You know, just kind of get a feel for, you know, the other side of the map.
Yeah, man. The way that Seekers stacked themselves on that B site even caught me off guard, because I was watching one of the players' perspectives from on the way, and then bang, 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 all down and gone. Now it looks like we've seen a little bit of a default come out from Seekers. Trying to tone down the speed just a little bit on both sides. Koala finding the opening kill onto Jet on the right side of the site, and that's going to cause Mozzie to try and take that Raptors position. 5-on-4 in favor of On the Way, currently on the offense as they rotate the spike to B, with Bancroft once again leading the way, getting info on a clear B site.
They're doing a really good play right now, so Leviathan actually is going to be able to pick up another frag. So they take down the support player on the A site, but they already have the spike going towards B. They actually drop it, so Witness is able to find it, using the wall to get a little bit of a cheeky boost, trying to find the corner of it. But right now, On the Way, they're going to just completely get out of this situation. They have so much time. They realize, you know what? Leviathan's got so much control of the A site. We might as well try to go for it. Kolop tries to get, you know, the lurk and just the rotate, but not able to land that frag, but does some damage. Doesn't make it work. And now 2 players remaining here from Seeker, both Arena and the Sage, but they're not close by. They need to go for this retake. And Mazzy, he's getting a little bit of interest. And actually, that is going to be a spike drop. All of a sudden, Witness comes alive with 3. And all now it's just Koala and coming up with 4. Witness. We just witnessed murder.
Koala, what happened there, man? He was right behind him and with the knife. That could have been the round for On the Way, but Witness, as you mentioned, we witnessed murder. 2v4 in that situation. It shouldn't have been possible, but making it happen out of nowhere. 9-7 in favor of Seekers, who are on defense now and running into an offense just on an eco. Man, what a play there. Just the patience we saw from both Witness and Mozzie. Gotta give him props for that.
I was saying, you know, Seeker, they weren't, you know, as close as I thought they were going to be, but Witness was, you know, he just kind of put his big point bants on, and he was like, yeah, let me just take care of things, guys. I'll just mop the floor here with On the Way and take 4 of them before, you know, everything's all over. And I mean, now they put themselves back to the 2-round lead, and confidence is definitely looking very high for them. They're playing very aggressive. You can see Jet trying to open things up with that duel. Doesn't go their way, but this is different than what we saw in map 1. They're definitely starting to fire on all cylinders.
Definitely. You can feel the energy in the room as Mozzie, even holding this Raptors spot, knows, okay, he's calling out the wall on site, looking for a kill onto that Sova on the bottom left, and isn't going to find it, so will back up as the Killjoy and Omen from the side of Seeker do come through CT to join Mozzie and Sage on the back of A site. However, On the Way are playing the post plant here, as Sova does have that ultimate ability. So he's just going to try to stay alive while Jet, the duelist, tries to create some commotion, and Sage gets the res in mid. This could be huge.
Killjoy actually going for the big lurk play, so he might be able to get in the back of the lines here, and they can already see the attacker kill to be used, so this is a good way to push them back, but they're completely committing to this. And look at that, that's going to be Stan. He's able to take down the diffuser, so time is completely ticking, but he comes up with another one, and all of a sudden it's down to the 1-on-1 Leviathan. He is on the way in the back of B main. Spike still getting diffused, but it's a good position because time is completely depleted, and On the Way they pull it through with the Thrifty.
A Sova ult and a Dream find them that round to bring it to 8-9, keeping them in the game, and especially on an eco round. Laz, tell me about the mental repercussions of what just happened, right? You mentioned that the side of Seeker was feeling confident. What are they feeling now?
demoralized. I mean, that, you know, that's a gun round for them. They lost to a Thrifty, and I mean, the positioning of their Killjoy from on the way, that's the biggest thing to note. I mean, Stan, the fact that he was in mid, takes down the diffuser. I mean, now the mental side of Seeker, they have to reset. They have to let that go, and this round might be the round, because now Jet finally makes a little bit of an opening duel, trying to get that frustration gone.
Hell yeah, man. You talk about a mental reset. When you get bopped in a 1v1, generally you play a little more passive. Jet took that personally, ulted, and went for the offense. And the side of Seeker here on a Thrifty round, trading 3 kills within the first 20 seconds of the round. Laz, nothing makes sense anymore.
Just reminding me of like the Macklemore song, you know? He's just like, they're Thrifty. I mean, why even bother like buying a gun? There's no point. I mean, there's no point seeing on the way. I mean, they got 2 players left, but look at the positioning of them. Koala is on the one side of the map. The Spike is on the other side of the map. It's just mayhem right now from on the way.
Mayhem. And on the side of Seeker, we're seeing that Jet push through mid. Ashy goes through B, and Governor spots him out. Does he go for the shot? Yes, he does. And now the Sage from on the way quickly notices that and tries to push through mid. However, calls for his teammates to come as it's a full rotate onto A. Governor needs to move quick because he should know that they're rotating through CT. Walls off a part of the site and goes for the plant. And it looks like they're going to be playing off-site once again. Ooh, actually, I may be wrong here. Koala making his way onto site. This is going to be dicey. Koala now watching that mid left side while Governor is playing for the boost here into the nest. Isn't able to find it. Witness finds the headshot instead, and Koala's position is spotted. Things are going to get dicey. 1v3 for Koala. Keeping your eyes on the nest. Finds one onto Omen, but Mozzie on the other side of the ropes is going to get that kill, and that is 11 rounds for Seeker to on the ways 8.
We need nothing but
I think I'm highlighting it a little bit is, you know, that situation with both players playing, you know, the buddy system close by. I definitely agree with it, but I mean, the fact that Governor, he just wasn't able to land that frag. I mean, that was kind of the one thing. If he could have picked that first frag up, that could have really changed things. And I mean, it put a lot more pressure for Koala to, you know, pick up an extra couple frags and really puts him in that dicey 1v3 situation that you just don't want to be in. And they know where you are, but it's really just going to be around the ring, around the rosy kind of situation. But either way, they get the spike plant, so they get a little bit of economy built up. It doesn't go their way, but now we see Seeker put themselves at 10-8. So they're only 3 rounds away that they can potentially take map number 2 home, but still plenty of Valorant to go. And really, at this point, I still think this is anyone's game.
It is anybody's game. We had 2 Thrifty rounds back to back, and it looks like a quick execute is coming out from the side of Seekers as they execute onto A. They will get blinded on the way on the attack, rather. Going for a frenzy kill under Rafters, finds it and picks up a Phantom. This could be the game changer. Mozzie from Rafters picks up Stan. 4v4 now. Koala Noob, the man to watch here with the Phantom, finds the headshot, isn't able to find the kill. That headshot will be going through the baseboards of the floor there. Killjoy ult coming out from the side of Seeker, pushing that attacking side off back for a retake here once again.
The lockdown, you know, the positioning of it, they don't have any chance that they could try to destroy it, so they have to completely fall back. Rez is going to be used from Witness, who brings back Jet, and Koala gets the spammy. Now he's just tapping away. 1-2. Can he find a little bit more? There's 4 players to go, but Leviathan's going to be able to save that diffuser because he was almost there. Look at this Leviathan. He's just making so much damage, and it almost works out for them. 24 HP. They're going to get the diffuse with 2 seconds to spare. Seeker, they're pulling it through just barely.
Like tooth and nail, they are clawing their way up the ranked ladder that is this match. Leviathan, dude, almost popping off in the back of sight. If he had just waited 1 last second before popping out for that last kill, it was only a difference of what, like 2 seconds or 0.3 seconds? I can't remember anymore. I'm a goldfish, bro. But pushing in on this 12th round here, potentially for Seeker, it looks like it's going to be a fast execute from on the way onto B site here with the Jet posted up. Is she going to find this entry frag? Not going to find it, but she does get tagged and is forced to back out.
That was a lot of risk that they were going for. The fact that, you know, just playing right in the corner, that's kind of the nice, beautiful thing about having the dash, that you can kind of reset yourself. And go for the dicey plays. I mean, why not? And even now, Jet's going to be pushed all the way back. On the way, they've gotten a lot of control this side. The Nanoswarm nade just going to block things off with the wall. It is got a little bit of a gap in it now because they've spammed through it, but they can still make the plant. They should be able to get just the right-hand side. As he look at this, already finds one, looking for a little bit more, maybe a little spam. He can definitely make it work, but on the way, all of a sudden, they're down to 2 players. They have the res available. Do they want to use it? It's all down to Governor by himself. He's going to have to pull up a 1-on-4 situation unless he can bring somebody back. But look at this. Seeker, they're completely invested for this. They want to just frag. They're on the hunt. They're looking for the Governor, and they're going to be able to find him, putting themselves at match point now.
Match point for Seeker. Laz, remind the people, what was the score last game for the Seeker team?
It was like 13-2, I think. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, production. 13-2, and now, I mean, Seeker, they've now put themselves at match point on map number 2, and on the way, not seeing the same team that we saw before. And I mean, they 4 rounds away from going to overtime. I mean, they have weapons. They got some, stuff going on. I mean,
yeah,
this is, the moment. They need to now pull up 4 in a row if they have any chance of staying alive at map number 2.
Here we go. Seeker looking for one final round. On defense here, they've got 2 people on A, as it looks like On the Way is setting up for a 5-man stack onto that A site as well. Looking at ultimates, On the Way has that res from Sage, they have Killjoy ult, and they have an Omen ult. Lots of repositioning power, lots of map denial. Plant coming out from the side of On the Way as the wall blocks off the back site.
I like this wall that was used actually from Governor. That's a really cheeky little spot. I mean, now, they just completely pushed back all these players. They weren't even able to deny the plant at all. So now they have a 5-on-5 retake situation. Bankrupt, look at this. He's just hanging out just on the other side of the Omen smoke, looking for a little bit more. That Judge, he's coming forward with a double kill. And all of a sudden now we're down to the 2v2, but now it's just back and forth we go again. Res gonna be used. Now Hunter's Fury gonna be used. On the way, they're just burning everything they can. Gonna be making the connections. It's just ultimate on ultimate. Still 2-2, despite not getting defused yet, but a little bit of commitment. Now it's all just down to Leviathan. Spike halfway through. Can they make this work? Leviathan, you gotta make it work, and he makes it with the shock dart, and he says he's able to pull it through for his team with the clutch with 2 seconds to spare.
Wow. With 2 seconds to spare, and he doesn't land that second shock dart, and it has to go instead for the knee shots on the final player to close out that 9th round for On the Way and keep them in this series. Because if they win the next 3 rounds, take it into overtime, this game will be theirs if they're able to pull out 5 rounds in a row right now. And with that, that could be the momentum starter that they need.
Thing we're noticing from On the Way is, the fact that they're actually just going for these A executes is definitely the right plan. That's where they've had the most success.
Definitely.
Every time they go towards B, it just seems to get completely annihilated and shut down pretty early on. So we see that they get a lot of success, a lot of control of the site early on, and they even use the lockdown in the very back. So this has to use the defense to push back. So they can't even really fight this. So they get the free plant. They can get themselves in those post plants, which is very problematic here for Seeker.
Problematic for Seeker indeed, and it looks like they've got their Killjoy from Cole on the flank, catching out Leviathan. They said, no, enough of your set darts. We're going to deal with that first, and deal with that they have. 5v4 for Seeker on this defense, and they've got On the Way locked in on this A side. Pushing in now, Mozzie finding 1 kill quick onto the site, pops the heal and looks for more. Witness from the back. Doesn't even need to do anything as his team cleans up, but Governor finds 2 back-to-back because he was right behind Witness in this corner. Gotta check your corners, folks. And Seekers taking that 13th round, making this a 1-1 game.
And we talked about Cinderella's story, and this is kind of, painting that picture for it. Seeker now have taken map number 2, 13-9. We were talking about this on the desk a little bit, that we thought, this was kind of a bit of a easy sweep here for On the Way, just considering their history on this map. But definitely a little ice cold on that side, and Seeker now making things very interesting.
Making things very interesting. I really thought this was going to be clean, done. There's no way that Seeker was coming back into this. But hey, Seeker just pulled off an upset before this match. They got a little wrecked in that first one, but doing it again in the second one. As we head on into Bind now for the 3rd map here, Laz, what are your thoughts? I could have never predicted that second match, not in 1,000 years.
Well, honestly, me as well. I mean, that's where we talk about Cinderella story. That's where we talk about, upsets. And I mean, to me, I mean, that is an upset, and a huge hats off to Seeker. I mean, they definitely popped off when they needed to. And I think Mazzy definitely was on top of the scoreboard, really making some big plays, especially as a Reina. Like, we talk about Reina, and she's had some adjustments recently. But I mean, that's kind of the power of a Reina, is when you start fragging and popping off, it's just a scenery to watch, really.
It's scenery to watch, right? Like we were discussing it for a while before, and on that first map, it really did not look like a good pick. Honestly, I had hoped he'd go for Phoenix, something to help his team more, whatever it may have been. But on the second map, definitely proving us wrong. Mazzy, if he can just pull off more of those clutches in the smokes, just running around on site and pressing that E, becoming a ghost all over the place. If he can just keep doing that and finding value for his team, they're going to have a lot of fun. Though Bind, when we talk about map movements, we talk about on the way, right? Their coordination was bar none, and we didn't see that from Seeker. We saw a lot of measured tactical play. Teleporters and Bind might just play out in on the way's favor. I'm really excited. I hope we see like a raise or something. I love some teleporter strats, but we're going to have to see what comes out here. Historically, though, what do you like seeing on this map the most?
For me, like on Bind, for me, it's hard to say. Like, I definitely, the thing about Bind that I really like is that more teams are getting a little bit more curious on different compositions. So, I mean, yesterday we saw, some Skies and some Vipers, which to me makes things a little bit more exciting because, teams feel a little bit more confident with different changes in their agent selection. So I think for me, that's a big thing. The TP play definitely, makes things very interesting for a map because, I mean, this was, something very different than we saw, of course, from, an FPS title. So I'm kind of curious. And I mean, even for a team like on the way that they play, we'll have to see. I mean, they seem to have these early aggressions and they seem to like bring those fights right away on that attacking side. So I think it'd be a big point for them on Bind.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. Those set plays at the beginning of rounds really found them a lot of kills that ended up winning them rounds just because they had the pressure, they had the numbers, they didn't really have to do much afterwards. So yeah, I think if they are able to measure out their aggression, really pop off early and just get that engine churning like we saw in that first game, it's going to be good. But if they start getting too much into their heads, like we saw in the second game, and start letting Seeker just pop him off left and right, like genuinely, I don't think one team over the other was more skilled in gunplay or anything of that. I really think it just came down to how they played on the maps. And yeah, like you mentioned, we're going to have to see how it plays out on Bind because it's so different to Ascent and Icebox. And that's what I kind of like about it. Some people call it Dust 2 of Valorant, which I don't particularly understand other than the fact that it's dusty. It's like the same color palette, I guess. But like, you ever play a lot of CS, Laz?
That's actually my background. So, I mean, for me, like, I think it's, kind of labeled that way because it's kind of the classic map, right? I mean, it's kind of, everybody plays it. It's, typically when you do the matchmaking, it's like the, most picked map, it always feels like, or when you do script on the early iterations of Valorant, it was always like the only thing to play. So I think for, both teams, this is kind of a big benefit is because it's been around for so long. Whereas, Icebox is definitely like, the most recently new map. It's not really new anymore, but we'll call it.
Yeah.
And still a lot that teams are experimenting with and kind of figuring out new metas and different setups. Whereas Bind, I mean, I think a lot of teams, like I said, with different agent compositions, that's where things get kind of interesting because that's where it really mixes things differently than these two maps that we saw before.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I've been seeing, like, once again, I was watching Korean Masters earlier today and over the past couple of days as well. And on Bind, we see a lot of Sky in Korea specifically. And that's really interesting because in the pro scene in North America, I would want to say that we haven't seen too much Sky just yet. Like, Strong Legs was really advocating for Sky proficiency over the last couple of weeks in T2. However, we haven't seen that marinate up into T1 just yet. Maybe we'll see some of that action here. Maybe we'll see some Cypher. It looks like the team compositions that we have been having so far in these two maps have been pretty much identical. Like, you got the Jet, you got a sort of Blinds, and really they're running the Sage or the Killjoy map, depending. For something like Bind, though, as we head on into it, you're looking back at the rosters for both of these teams. Standout players on both of these teams. On the side of On the Way, I really want to point out Governor, right? The second game, he might have not had the best showing on the Sage. However, he was definitely way more potent on a Phoenix. Going into this third map, do you think they're going to be making any huge changes to the agent selection that they had compared to on Icebox?
I definitely think so. Like, I mean, I'm kind of expecting Governor to probably switch things up. I mean, we kind of see the different composition between, having an Omen versus a Brimstone. I mean, definitely both positives. I think Brimstone definitely can bring a lot to the table, especially with like how close quarters the bind is. I mean, you still have the orbital strike. Your smokes can pretty much cover a big chunk of the map. I'm going to be curious if anybody's going to experiment with that. And I mean, even, Sova is a classic, of course. But I am a little bit curious if that's going to change things up. And I think these guys probably realize that, this Asian composition from map number 2 just probably wasn't the right fit. But I do agree, like Sage definitely, in my opinion, is still a very big part of the meta. And I think she brings a lot of value. I'm not sure she can bring as much value right now for Bind compared to other agents, but I definitely wouldn't be surprised we see it again.
Yeah, definitely won't be surprised. And with that said, it looks like we are ready to start heading into the agent select portion of what's going on. And already 2 locks from the side of On the Way. We're seeing that Cypher Governor back on the Phoenix, as we were just talking about. Bancroft, of course, sticking to the trusty old Omen. Koala Noob on Jet, and Leviathan on who I'm assuming will be Sova.
And you actually pretty much nailed it on the head. I mean, Governor, he did switch things up, went back to his original game plan, stay things on the Phoenix. Stan going to be going back to a Cypher, where we saw before he was, playing that Killjoy. But a Cypher on this map is just pretty much like an instant pick. I mean, I think it makes the most sense. All the tripwires and cyber cages just create so much value on both sides, attacking and defense. And I'm kind of curious what Leviathan wants to go for. I mean, typically he's been the Sova, so I'm kind of expecting the same thing. But I mean, maybe that's the little difference. Maybe they got, a little bit of a question mark play that they want to, throw off the opposing team.
It's interesting, too, because on the side of Seekers as well, we were taking a look at arrays coming out from Mozzie, and that's something we mentioned with the teleporters. If you don't know, by the way, if you're just tuning in and you're not an avid player of Valorant, Raze is really good on Bind because Bind's got 2 teleporters basically, and what you can do with Raze is throw your boom bot. She's got this little Roomba that explodes when it detects people, so you throw it through the teleporter, it can open doors on the other side of the map, and you can throw a grenade to follow up on that. So it opens the doors through the next teleporter, and a nade follows through, and you can stop pushes from across a map. So very strong utility usage. Agents like Killjoy, Sage, Sova, who can slow down agents, are very strong in Bind as well, because the 2 main chokes from both sides are either through a little window or a little hallway, and that's something that I'm sure you'll see Laz and I talk about a lot over the course of the next game as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's a lot of good things to note about Bind. I mean, if you live under a rock, haven't played Valorant, you just don't really know. I mean, this is the classic map, so I mean, really, it's a pretty well even balanced map. I still would give the slightest favor. I would say probably the defensive side. I think with new agents that are coming out and just people being a little bit more creative on their setups, definitely creates different strategies and executes that we've seen, especially in the very beginning of this. But, now it looks like everything's back to normal. So I think we're just waiting for the teams to get all their picks in. And now Leviathan and Governor are going to be back in the server. I think there was just a crash. So we do see the Sova. We were talking about that before. It definitely makes sense. It looks like Leviathan just going to be playing his strong agent and Governor staying with the Phoenix. So no changes there. But actually, we do see Cole, hesitating a little bit on the Killjoy, which we saw a lot before. And Mazzy actually going to be switching things up, not playing Reyna, but instead we'll playing Raze. And I definitely agree with that, especially having the showstopper and the paint cans and everything. It really just makes sense.
Yeah, really just makes sense. And now we're just really waiting. Cole was a force to be reckoned with on that Killjoy. He was even flanking when he saw the opportunity, which really is just showing you how in tune he is with the game. Like, as a Sentinel, you got to be watching your flanks, but it doesn't also hurt to keep an eye on the enemy's team's flanks if you can. And now, with the team comps set in stone, we will be heading on into Bind as we progress into the 3rd game. This will be the tiebreaker on this match, and the winner of this match will be progressing on into the bracket. Speaking of the bracket, let's talk about that real quick. On the Way and Seeker, winner of this will be progressing on into the finals, facing the winners of Noble and Last Round Save. Let's give that a refresh real quick. Yes. Winner of this match will be facing the winner of Noble and Cosmic Divide. Noble progressed into that match after defeating Last Round Save in a 2-1, and Cosmic Divide progressed into that by beating TLP 2-0.
interesting from TLP. You know, we had them on the stream yesterday, and they, you know, like I said, they did the bit of the reverse sweep and definitely made a pretty big upset in consideration of like how that game went. But you know, they just weren't able to play against Cosmic Divide. I mean, definitely a strong team, and I'm kind of curious how things can go because I mean, really, the way that we're seeing both these teams play On the Way and Seeker, I mean, they can both pack a big punch.
They definitely can, and I really didn't think that Seeker had hit the gym. You know, they looked scrawny in that first match, straight up scrawny. In the second one, though, it really looked like a different group of people, and like I keep bringing this up because I really want to see this come into effect on this map, but macro movement from On the Way looked stellar. Seekers, not so much. However, they won the last game. So really, it could go anyway as we count down 5 seconds left on the clock before this match starts. The final match between On the Way and Seeker. The tiebreaker is now beginning with a push on what looks to be a site from the side of Seekers, who are on offense.
I mean, you know, we want to see from Seekers, they want to get that orb control. So, I mean, that's really important for them, especially on that attacking side. That's going to be critical. But right now, talking about critical, they're going to be able to get in this site. They just get it for free. So instead, On the Way, they're not even really going to contest this at all. But instead, they're going to allow the plant. They're just going to go for the retake situation. And they already look at this. They're pushing in. They're close on by. Turrets set up already. And Leviathan taking some serious damage. Jet holding out in the back of Lamps. Close on by with his teammate, but now this is just a bit of a pinch here. Koala actually does find one. So, gonna get the perfect timing, and this is very well done now. A 4-on-3 situation, still going in favor a little bit here for On the Way, and this is where we just see decimation, and we saw before. Can we see it again? Koala able to pick up a quad, and that's gonna be the defuse. And look at this, with those frags, he could be getting this orb, but no, his teammate, Governor, will get the defuse. So, good teammates, good comms.
Dude, you saw that, you nailed it right on the head. That jet push coming up from Seeker, followed by the drone and the Raze Roomba. They moved together into U-Haul and cleared it out in the blink of an eye. Now, usually you'll catch one person there because on the left side over the truck, the Sova drone's coming, and on the right side through that doorway into U-Haul, the Raze Roomba is coming. So you're kind of stuck. However, great movement from On the Way. They back on out into CT, and as you hit it on the head once again, Koala Noob on the flank finds for... It almost looked too easy for Seeker, but that's what On the Way wanted. So great first round to start off this third game. On the Way looking good on defense here.
Set up here from On the Way, 3 players towards B, so this is a bit of a misread here from Seeker, but even Koala using the goal in his favor. His teammate lines that up very well, and they pick up that easy frag. So now all they have to do is just push back, reposition themselves, and now Seeker are going to be playing in the deficit. They've already lost one of their players. Now they've lost even another. They saw the Omen smokes that they can use for utility, but they've already lost both their duelists. Or not a duelist, sorry, they both lost their Sentinel as well as the Sova. So that's a big loss in terms of utility gained. Lost again, my goodness, and even losing lives here. Pure finally makes a little bit of life.
Makes a little bit of life, but he's looking for more. He wants more life. Mozzie checking onto the window. Able to sneak into the bottom of the smoke. What a dirty little rat. But he's going to be found out by the Exterminator, Koala Noob himself, and the last player on the side of Seekers. Pure hops through the TP, takes his worries to another place, is vacationing by the A side teleporter, and is just waiting. He dares someone to come through and TP. Not many prospects left for him in this situation. 4 health, Sheriff in hand. Well, looks like he might give it a shot though. He pushes through showers now. Maybe tries to get a kill. Maybe tries to get a plant. There's no harm. And he's gonna die.
The one thing, you know, I noticed is Leviathan, he was really close to running through the TP, and then you could just tell he was like, you know what? I feel like there's a trap in here. So I'm going to go all the way around and not even bother trying for it. And that literally would have been exactly what Pure was hoping for. He was waiting for someone to just, you know, get a little bit, you know, hungry for it, just run through the TP a little bit carelessly. But I mean, that's kind of the smart play in that mid-round decision where Leviathan, you could just tell he had that light bulb moment like, yeah, you know what? I think I should, and I'm not gonna.
You gotta trust your gut in those cases, and he did, and it paid off for him. Now it looks like Seeker going for a very quick push onto B long here. However, the ult is popped on the side of Koala Noob. What was his name? Koala Bear? Koala Noob. I don't know why I totally blanked on that. Bancroft, though, find a kill to follow up on Koala Noobs, and it's quickly turned into a 3v5 as Governor gets a 3-man flash, but doesn't find the kill to follow up, and Koala is just behind him. He's like, bro, don't worry. I've got you. Come here.
Such a nice bait. I mean, you can see Governor just throwing flashes, made it look like he was the only player, and then Koala, you know, just carving up the stake here of all the players from Seeker and just leaving it to the only one player. He does have the spike. You know, he does have a rifle, so I mean, he does have a good position. He could potentially push into the site, but look at this on the way. They're completely lined up. You know, the Caterpillar in the spawn side. I mean, they're just waiting. They're just waiting to hear the spike get planted, and they're then going to go for the attack. And right now, I mean, there's a lot of time still remaining here for Seeker, and Pierce, needs to find what decision he wants to go for, but instead now going to be wrapping around, just checking everything. Going to Hookah, now realizes he's going to be committing to this.
Yeah.
30 seconds
and
left.
It's just so good on the side of on the way to just be sitting 3 men in defense in spawn, rather, because there's no way you're flanking this. There's literally no way. And all they have to do is wait for a plant. So they're playing the patience game, the lowest risk patience game available. And you can't fault them for this. It's just smart play. 10 seconds now, 6 seconds left before he can no longer plant that spike. Plant is coming out outside of the 2, and that is it. Stan quickly peeks out and is able to put his bullet in the place where it's needed most. 3 rounds now on the side of on the way as they take a convincing lead over Secrets here.
And Stan actually, I believe he just saw the edge appear. So you can see Pierre was checking just to make sure nobody was close by and be Hull. But actually, Stan, he peeks like right at the last second. I believe he spots the shoulder appear when he turns his back. So that's why, he just pushed on through. And Pierre, he thought nobody was close on through. So he kind of thought that they were all grouped up in this site. And with that open plant, he could position himself potentially in the back of B Hull and get ready for, a better post-time positioning. But it just comes down to the milliseconds.
It really, really does. And now it looks like a grouped up push from Seekers through Hookah, where Bancroft is waiting with a Vandal in hand, finds that first headshot and gets a significant amount of damage onto Sova in the back of Hookah, finishes him off, no problem. The tag will go down onto Bancroft, but rotate coming out from the side of Seekers directly into the waiting and loving arms of Koala, who's got that op just for them, got their name written on it as a Christmas present. And as they try to push through, Stan's got his trip set up as well, not making Jet's life any easier. And as they triangulate his position behind those boxes, it is just over before it could really get started in that 4th round. Now, heading into number 5, we should see a buy come out from the side of Seekers. We're seeing a return op from Jet. She's done some work with it in the past, and some real rifles. What do they got to do, Laz, to try and make an impact here? What do you think?
Going to rely on, just both Jets actually getting those opening exchanges. I mean, Koala Noob already 10-1. So, I mean, put that in perspective. He literally has the same combination of frags that every other teammate on his squad has. He's literally, just topping the board. He's looking good. He's feeling good. A little bit of revive from map number 2. And I mean, even for the side here of Seeker, they need to find these openings. They need to push on the way back. Because right now, look at this. Koala, he's actually playing very aggressive. He tries to make that opening connection like I talked about, but it doesn't work out. But this is a good position for them because now Seeker, they're either going to be able to pounce on this aggression or they're going to be a little bit more slow.
We will have to see how it plays out. Seeker, where we saw them have success on Icebox, they grouped as 5 and they played a slow game. Having past 40 seconds roughly on the clock at this point, it looks like Seeker is trying to revert to that sort of play style. However, it's a bit more difficult on this map. They've got the Cypher and the Sova set up on B. That is a ton of util, and they've got the rest of their 3 teammates set up on A. Good luck trying to break this, Seekers, as they try to push on through A short. They are at a loss. They don't have information. They don't have anything now. Jet trying to push through showers. This could be the info they need as Koala finds the pick on a short and Bancroft follows the second one. Jet, though, through showers, able to find one, quickly traded by Governor in U-Haul here, who looks for a third and won't find it, but is followed up by Leviathan.
Pick up the op as well. So I mean, they lose their player, but they keep that op, just rotating around like a hot potato. Now, I mean, Seeker, they don't really have good funds. I mean, they could try to go for, you know, like a stinger purchase. They could try to do something a little bit different, but this moment, I mean, now they know that Koala has the op, so either they want to try to challenge it, put up a lot of aggression against him, or I mean, they want to just try to avoid him. So I mean, right now we see that they're kind of grouped up, ready to go into middle. So potentially going for a fast B hit, which definitely, you know, can make sense because they want to see if they can catch a player off guard. And even now, both players on this B site on the defense, they're playing very aggressive towards long. Can actually make it work. Trade's not even going to happen as well. Koala actually missing that shot. See if he can find it. And look, the attackers have already been able to push into the site. This is looking like a problem, and it's definitely going to be a big problem.
There you go. You called it, man. That push through hookah, followed up by not finding that kill on Sova with the Sheriff on long, is what's going to be the thorn in their side here. Bancroft, though, coming from CT, finding two, taking all the work that Witness had done and flushing it down the drain as Witness finds a kill with the op, but Stan cleans it up from the back. The dynamic information duo really just making their lives hell on offense here.
Nice, you know, effort, and definitely want to give a big hats out to Seeker. I mean, when you're in that kind of a situation with limited, you know, inventory, I mean, that's what you want to do. You want to try to put that pressure on them. We were talking about that on map number 1. They finally do a little bit of that. I mean, it doesn't go their way, but I mean, they were able to take 3 guns down from on the way. So yes, they have money, but they're gonna have to spend it now. Like, a lot of them are capped at 9K, but it really does make a difference when they try to deplete everything.
It does make a difference, and it looks like there may be a bit of a technical pause coming up as Koala may be reconnecting. We'll of course take a look at that if necessary and if the players let us know. But as we're continuously looking at this scoreline, 6-0 in favor of On the Way. This is way more like that first map on Ascent. And you gotta give them props, man. Like you mentioned, Koala has more kills than everyone else on his team combined. And probably the enemy's team as well. They were not looking too hot. He is feeling himself, and for good reason. Definitely deserved there. And it's just nasty, man. Like, they don't have necessarily the stopping power that Seeker does on their defense with Killjoy and Raze. However, the information is just really panning out for their fragging power.
It is, and this is kind of what we were mentioning before. This squad, I mean, talking about firing power, everybody can pull up when they need to, and Koala now has really decided to make that happen, especially on this last map. A little bit more of aggression now we see from Seekers, able to get hookah control once more. They're going to be able to see if they can make this work, and Showstopper deactivated, but Leviathan going to come from the back lines, able to find him, but the trade will now be done. Cole takes him down. That will be the lockdown used as well. In addition to that, so only 2 players remaining. Governor finds one. That's going to be the spike carrier, and all of a sudden it's down to the big heavy carry, Koala Noob. Does he have the heavyweights? Can he do it? Looking for one, looking for another. He misses it. He's not on that second frag, and Witness finally they pick up their first round.
I don't know how he missed that second one, but I really thought he hit it. Even that first kill was great. I love watching Jet ults. They always get me excited, and I can never hit one to save my life in a ranked game, but you know, that's okay. Really, really nicely done from the side of Seeker there, finally putting themselves on the board, breathing a bit of life into this match, and equalizing their economy here, right? Like, if they do start to go on a bit of a run, get their momentum fired back up, Seeker sets themselves up for a good 3rd and 4th round victory if they're able to get this round here.
Really messed them up too. I mean, with them winning around, I mean, this could kind of shake up their economy a little bit, especially if on the way they kind of, you know, just react to that hiccup for them. But we can see now Seeker, they're actually going to be able to push into this site. So again, 2 players on the defensive side are close by in washrooms. So they might not expect them to be here. Now it's going to be Hunter's Fury that's going to delay the plan. Actually does make the connection, lands the frag, takes down Mazzy, able to pick up the second one as well. They drop the spike, and even Stan, he's able to find another frag. All of a sudden, peekaboo from the washroom, because they're going to be able to find them. And now it's just all down to Pure. His teammates are completely depleted, and he's on a 1-on-5.
Stuck in that U-Haul, trying his best, completely blind. Pure able to find 1 kill, still stuck in U-Haul, about 20 HP left. Stan from short gonna be calling it quits on his life, and that will be the 7th round for On the Way. Just too clean, and yeah, we talked about it. Their economy was gonna be shot, and shot it is. Seeker looking kind of broke. This round is ought to be a half buy.
kind of the situation that they're in. I mean, you know, both Cole and Jet could try to, you know, force up the rifles, and actually looking like they might try it. I mean, they can definitely do it and make work of it, and then, you know, just one teammate just kind of go for the light purchase and work around it. It definitely makes sense. I mean, but right now, I mean, Jet does have the most money, and even just going for the rifle purchase now, I mean, he's kind of back to an equalized money situation for them. But Koala actually playing very aggressive. Governor going to be able to hold his hand, pick up that next frag, and already mowing them down. But Koala actually not able to land that last shot, but his teammates do reply back in good fashion. And now we have ourselves a 3-on-2 situation. Spike, or sorry, the orb is going to be retrieved here from the attacking side, so that's a good gain from them as well.
Yeah, TP does come out as 3 members of the attacking team, or rather 2 members of the attacking team, make their way onto A. Bancroft waiting for information here, playing off auditory cues entirely, gets the tag from the Cypher camera, and is able to find one, and looks for the second, gets the headshot through the boxes, and into U-Haul. Pure once again finds a headshot with the Omen ultimate, though. He is flashing back to B as Stan is hot on his tail through the teleporter, and Pure at this point needs to set up on site and try to get a couple of fake plants down to try and bait them out into a series of one-on-ones. And he's done exactly that. With that first fake plant, he's detected where that Cypher is, where Stan is, and now he needs info on that Phoenix. Has he rotated to B into CT, or is he still somewhere on A? So, not knowing the answer to that question, Seeker now pushes back up into Hookah and is trying to go on the flank for Stan. Stan, still waiting, believes that Pure may be in elbow or in CT, never in 1,000 years, to his right in Hookah. And now, with the time ticking down, he needs to get a legitimate plant off, and he does also have a smoke as well. So the smoke does go down, plants inside of it, and now he's playing passive and aggressive through the tube, finds the headshot. What a play from Pure to bring that back from the brink of destruction in that 9th round, bringing it to a 2-7, but still another round for Seekers there.
Love that play from Pure. I mean, the fact that he was able to, you know, just make those on 2 1v1 situations. He was down to like 2 HP. Like, he had nothing. Like, you could breathe on the guy and he'd be tipping over. I mean, the fact that he didn't go through the TP, you could see the Phoenix was just in the back of spawn, kind of expecting something to happen, but instead he goes all the way around. He just, you know, has the patience and makes the one-on-one duels. That's exactly what you want. We talk about, you know, the high-level Valorant, and that's exactly where it is. He just, you know, stays calm, relaxes, and gets another round here from Seeker. 7-2. They pick up a much-needed round in the big clutch from their Omen.
What a clutch it was. Yeah, man had 4 health. All you needed to do was cough on him wrong, and he would have been dead. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Here, though, on the way, looking good. They've got the dynamic information duo set up on that B site, and a triple hold coming out on A site, where they're able to pick up that first kill onto Witness. Now in a 4v5, this offense gets dicey.
Scanning ahead.
Dark cover. I mean, look at this Stan. He's just actually still being able to spray on through. No recon bullet going to be found, but the spike has finally made itself inside the site. And location reveal is going to come through, actually locating Pure, and he actually does have the spike. So that's some good intel for these players on the way. And then they are just picking these players apart one by one. And Jet finally getting a reply back, but Bancroft trying to get the spam. Now we have ourselves back to a 2-2 situation. Spike gonna go in the plant inside the cube. But look at this, they're completely swinging for it. But Pure, can he do it again? Can he make another clutch situation? Yes, he can. He's gonna be able to pull another round in favor for Seeker.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Like, what was that? What clean headshots. Look at the scoreline, right? That kind of tells you the story of what's been happening in this match. Pure able to clutch it out 2 rounds back to back, getting massive numbers, 13 kills, while the second teammate, the next closest teammate, is that Jet with 5 kills. So now, hopefully that has lit a fire under the butts of Seeker, and they can really start getting that momentum rolling. On the way, though, switching things up just a little bit. They've got that 3-man stack on B now. Instead, moving that Cypher on over to A, as it looks like Seekers will be heading for a slow A push.
Fury now going to be used Witness, so this is actually going to push the defense back. So this is a good play because now their position is going to be compromised. They're not going to be able to be in those strong positions that they wanted, so allows the spike to get into the site for the plant. And now look at this. This is just a complete cluster. The floodgates have been completely open now, and this is a really tough situation to be in, especially on defense. They now need to creep on through, but Koala has the Blade Storm, finds the first frag. Governor going to see what he can make order of, and Koala, he's going to be able to pick up another frag. And Governor, he's trying to get a little cheeky with a spam, catches the flash, but he runs out of ammo, and all of a sudden now it's just down to 2 members remaining, only making it 1 Leviathan on the 1-on-2 situation. He needs to come alive. The spike's halfway through, finds the head of Witness, and he's just looking for a little bit more, and the patience has to be very well here for the Rays. Can he make this work? He's spraying on through, but look at this. The movement is phenomenal, and he should have enough time to get the defuse.
Wow. Wow. That second fake that Leviathan did, and he turned to look to the right past Truck. I thought it was over in that moment. Mozzie was going to push. And really, it could have gone either way, right? Like, he could have stuck that second fake, and he would have gotten it. Mozzie could have pushed while the Leviathan was peeking Truck. He could have gotten it. So close, yet so far on the way, taking that to 8-3 in what could have been Seeker's 4th round. So close there, lads. Ultimately, where do you think it all went down?
Is clutch. I mean, we talk about big plays, individual plays. I think you come right down to the big plays of all the squad here from on the way, and they deliver it. We talked about firepower. They're proving the point there.
And here we go. 8th short now. Governor finding 1 kill. Still a 3v5 for Seekers. Quickly turn into a 2v5 as Bancroft finds a 3, 4 for Koala, and 5 for Governor. What a round there. As intense as that last one was, this one was equally as intense, but just that quick. Just that quick.
Now we switch things over. I mean, this is the second half on the way. Have put up a pretty significant lead, 9-3. We saw before on map number 1, they were, a bit of a bulldozer, but now getting a little bit crushed on map 2, and they seem to have got their rhythm back on map number 3. Now Seeker going to be on that defensive side, so I'm curious to see what we'll see from this squad on Icebox. This is where they started to really come alive and really making some big plays on those retakes. I wonder if they can bring that forward for this last map.
I really wonder if they can, man. I want Seeker to do well. They won that second map against the same team on Icebox. They looked good. They looked composed. Here we're seeing glimpses of glory from individual players, but not the same type of chemistry and coordination that we saw on Icebox. Now, looking at the side of the defense, they do just have 2 people on that B site, and they've got a triple stack on A with 2 in showers, which could be the downfall of Seekers here. Of On the Way, rather. Mozzie now waiting up in heaven as the plant comes down onto default, and they're backing up into short. Shots come out from Leviathan, though, finding 2 back-to-back, 4-2 now in favor of On the Way. And here they go for the post plant. They're just going to back up. Governor finds 1 into heaven. Jet now with the Sheriff lets her presence be known in showers, and the rest of the team will begin to converge on her from all directions.
A bit of a cool off. I mean, now Governor has been able to put that last frag to making themselves 10-3. So on the way, they just do a very basic setup. They just go for the big pinch onto Catwalk, and then actually we saw there was 2 players in the big flank from TP. So Seeker, they tried to get a little bit quick and swift through that TP, but they actually get caught completely in the crossfire here from On the Way. So that was a really good way to just take down the big flank and that quick rotate that we saw from Seeker.
Absolutely. And as we head on into this next round, it's 10-3 now in favor of On the Way, and it looks like they're stacking up for a big B play here. Laz, is this gonna work for them? It's a lot of aggression.
Aggression indeed, and even now they're going to push on through. Witness actually does find the first, so that's a good start. It slows down the push a little bit, and even now you can see Spike's still going to advance. Stan going to be able to find it, and Governor actually going to try to push on through, trying to find this frag, but this player is so low. He should be able to burn him, does find it, and he actually spots the shoulder of this other Raze, so he's still going to be bringing the gunfight, spamming away, but Jet will be able to win that duel, and all of a sudden now it's down to Pierre. He's been absolutely on fire with the clutches. This is going to be a big order for him. He's only got a Sheriff in hand. Can he find these 3 players? He's completely compromised in the location. Shock Dart, he's right on his feet. He's down to 30, and this is looking a bit grim for him.
This is looking a bit grim for him. Pure gets pushed ultimately. Not able to clutch it out once again. We've seen it from him in the past, but unfortunately not there. 11-3 in favor of On the Way. That quick push from Long doing dividends. Every time they've gone for a split push, it's really worked out quite well. And once again, it looks like the attacking side will be second towards B, as Seeker only put 2 on that site once again for a defense. It's kind of nasty seeing this offense work so well, because you would think that with the Cypher and the Sova both on offense, it may lack some hitting power, but no. Governor, Koala Noob, they're all pitching into this party here, and it's paying out large. Recon Arrow up into B long, trying to follow up with a push. Can't seem to take out that turret. It's a very, very hard target. Governor finding one now, clear through B long, and pushing into garden.
I mean, they're still just picking the flowers. I mean, they're just not being able to push out of this garden yet. Now finally going to be able to pounce. They push these players back. And even Governor again, pushing on through the back. He uses the run it back in B Hall, so he's got a lot of intel. He knows that at least 2 players are going to be in the back, so they've been able to obtain a lot of information. It will be the dark cover that's going to be used. Pure and Jet, they do find Stan in the lurk middle, but Leviathan, this is a good position for him. He might be able to find it. He might be able to get the backstab. Look at him. He's creeping on through. If he's patient, he might be able to get 2 frags. He spams through. He takes him right down to critical health. Shock Dart's going to land, and that will be that. I mean, there's only 1 player remaining, unless he comes alive, but no, it will be Governor to come alive here, and that is a big victory here as we see match point and series point here for On the Way. On the way now for the series. I mean, 12-3. This is looking like a little bit of a repeat that we saw from nap number 1. And Seeker haven't been able to respond to the aggression from On the Way. Such a dominant performance, and this is kind of what we were, noticing as well. I mean, a little bit of rounds picked up here for them, but Seeker having a very hard time against the powerhouse of On the Way.
Definitely.
So many as well from the Sova. I think I saw like 13.
It's just ridiculous how much value he's finding out of his kit, really. And that's all that research, all those 1,000 years of figuring out all these lineups. Witness finding a kill with that ultimate to start things off. Not usually what you see on a round, but 4v4 now in favor of On the Way in rounds 12-3. Stan now looking to push out a hookah, gets that Cypher cage onto the site, trades once again. Still a close game, 3v3 with Pure putting some pressure onto the back line.
For Pure, but now he's actually just going to hang out towards middle. But no, Stan, the mind reader from the Cypher, takes him down. And Koala, look at this. He's just running through his opponents, and now it's a 1-on-2 situation. HP is absolutely critical, surviving by the skin of his teeth, and that's going to be that. On the Way have made it themselves further in the tournament, 13-3 with a 2-1 victory in the series.
13-3. My. If somehow that second map, Seekers were able to pull it out and really take it 13-9 and show us that, hey, we're a squad with a lot of potential, but ultimately On the Way, making a name for themselves here, the favorites of the tournament, as you mentioned earlier, taking a little bit of damage from a relatively unknown squad, showing that they still do have work to do. But man, oh man, what a game. So now On the Way, winning those semis, will be heading on into your finals. Laz, thoughts on the whole match? That was awesome. 2-1 in that final game. You might be muted, Laz. No worries.
Well, hopefully I'm back.
There you are.
Issues once again. I mean, we'll just, luckily it's at the end. But either way, I mean, for Seeker, I mean, the fact that they were able to, call, I want to call it an upset. I mean, really, the fact that, we were really putting a lot, statistically for On the Way on Icebox, the fact that they pushed it to map 3 is a huge accomplishment for them. They've definitely, done well in their history, but that is a good play for them. But either way, a great series, and what a better way, especially pushing things all the way to the finals now.
Absolutely right. And we mentioned this time and time again throughout the course of that last and third game. But Koala Noob, man, what a player. We were only 4 rounds in, and this guy already had 10, 11, 12 kills, double digits under his name, just stacking up the kills. And by the end of that game, this man finished 23-10. So a marked difference from his Icebox performance there.
I mean, we talk about the powerhouse and the, you know, the firepower on the squad, and people need to show up. I mean, I don't think we saw it as much on Icebox. I mean, it was still a relatively close game, but this map 3, I mean, this was Koala's playground. I mean, the guy was just doing whatever he wanted, and it was just fruitful picking, really. I mean, he was just able to find whatever he wanted.
Yeah, he found whatever he wanted, and he had a team there to support him, especially with Governor on that Phoenix. Really having that fragging power to rely on. Hey, okay, I know if I go super deep this way and try to clear some space, I'll have that Phoenix to frag me out on the side and put that additional pressure. With Governor on Sage, they just weren't finding the same sort of success, and we saw that reflected once again in the scoreboard. No fault to him. Maybe it's he's picking up Sage for the future. You never know. We didn't see any wacky Sage walls either, so definitely work still to be done, but this is just the semis, ladies and gentlemen. And the action couldn't get any better. And we're going to be heading on over to the grand finals soon enough, if I'm not mistaken, Les.
Definitely, we're going to be having this channel raid the main channel, so everybody make sure you don't go away. I mean, we do have a big match ahead of us, the grand finals, and I think we're just kind of waiting on the finalization of the teams. But I mean, we do know that On The Way have made their way to at least second place or even a first place now, and that's I'm getting pretty excited. I definitely know I'm getting my popcorn.
Definitely, yeah. And all the teams that have been playing for today since we started at 6 p.m., if I'm not mistaken, have made some money. If they played in the rounds before semis, they each made $150 a pop, these teams, and now progressing past the semis, that's some more money. And whoever wins the finals is obviously going to win the most amount of money. Laz, let's shout out some sponsors while we can before we head on over.
I want to give a big shout out, of course, to PlayerzZone. I mean, without these guys, like, you know, we wouldn't be here today. Make sure you guys check them out. I mean, definitely a great resource. You know, they are the the esports restaurant and gaming lounge in upstate New York. So if you're in the area, make sure to check them out. And you can always have a private party or, you know, event, you know, a little gathering if you want, as long as the social distance, whatever you need. It's good to be.
It's a great place to be. And of course, if you were watching all those games, and you want to get in on the action, hop on over to their Discord. You can participate in all of these tournaments if you're Immortal Plus. However, if you are a lower rank, there are other tournaments you can participate in as well, all discoverable on their Discord. So head on over to that. And of course, we got to shout out all the players, right? All of you in the chat right now as well. I see Pure, I see Koala Noob. Thank you so much for playing in the tournament. Thanks so much for supporting Great Lakes Gaming. And thanks for showing up for the stream. We all appreciate it. And of course, with that said, is it time to raid the mainstream?
Time, but again, thank you so much to GLG and PlayerzZone for having us here today. Definitely an exciting match, and congratulations to On The Way for making themselves into the grand finals. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I don't think I have anything else to say unless you do, Jim.
I do not. It was a pleasure casting with you for the very first time, ladies and gentlemen. I know it seems like we've been brothers forever, but this is our first time. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, dude, and hope to do it again sometime soon. Of course, once again, if you're wanting to compete, want to get involved, head on over to Discord. There's lots of ways you can get involved as a player, producer, broadcaster, observer. There's a lot of stuff you can do in esports, so get involved today.
Absolutely. But don't go away, guys. We are going to be rating the main channel. We'll have our production spam it as well, I'm sure, in the chat. But thank you so much, and looking forward to the next match in the grand finals. Don't go away. We'll be back very soon.
The Molly takes down Killjoy, and this detained Storm can't get anywhere. And it's gonna be the knife. The knife hacking him away. The demon falls. Van Helsing is
That is very unfortunate to get that correctly, but Saints is so strong.
Now in a 2 versus 1 scenario, Munchie takes out Shade, has to stop Dip, who is sticking this defuse. He doesn't seem to notice, though. Gonna get around the corner.
Here's Churro to his paranoia comes out. There's one. There's two. Looking for the third, and he gets it for the 4K. Q59. Bring it to 11.
And now, Polar Bear gonna connect one, gonna take out the enemy races. Bandito getting deleted. Paint Can isn't able to bring some damage to the table as Zyme pushing in, or Zim rather, pushing into you. Can connect. The Polar Bear is just waving the keyboard and the mouse. Left, right, and center with the ace to close out.
Okay, who's got the snacks?